Part 79. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 781. Wei Venfang registered Hangcheng Mali Express Co., Limited, and decided to buy a mobile phone. Although there are rumors that by next year, 900 megabit analog cellular mobile phones like mobile phone will begin to be eliminated and replaced. It will be a GSM digital mobile phone. Affected by rumors, the price of the mobile phone is diving, but it is still close to 20,000. Wei Venfang and the others could not wait until next year, and in the express delivery business, the eldest brother was indispensable. Having learned the lesson from the last time, so many people from Tonglu followed them to do small parcel shipping business, Wei Venfang decided to keep it secret this time and not let others know. Whatever they are doing, someone else will soon follow suit. Before you have a firm foothold, you still have to be careful. Wei Venfang went from hotel to hotel. She went to almost all hotels with office buildings. She visited every company. Everyone was generally very interested in her business, and there were many companies in urgent need of it. At that time, we signed an agreement with her and established a business relationship. If there is a mailing business, they will call her eldest brother. Wei Venfang will pick it up herself if she has time. If she is on the way to deliver the mail, she will let Wu Zayawai and her sister pick it up. She would never let them know about the others. Lu Ligan's company, mainly Shenzhen Angzhen Trust, became her regular customers, and Chu Tianlin's company also became their customers. Chu Tianlin also introduced several friends' companies to Wei Venfang. At that time, various township and village enterprises and private enterprises across Zhejiang opened many offices in Hangzhou. Many of these offices were responsible for foreign trade business, and many orders were received from foreign trade companies in Shanghai. Orders, samples, customs declaration materials, etc. need to be transported from Shanghai to Hangzhou, from Hangzhou to the factory, and then back to complete the process. Wei Venfang often collects samples and documents during the day, takes the night train to Shanghai at night, and takes the train back to Hangzhou the next day. She was pulling a hand-drawn cart pulled by clothing customers. On the cart were 2 large canvas bags. Others thought she was going to Hangzhou to buy clothing. No one knew that her 2 bags were filled with express. When she arrived in Shanghai, it was still early, so she went to Xiaoli's place and squeezed into the same bed with Xiaoli to sleep for a few hours. At dawn the next day, she got up and took a map of Shanghai to plan today's route. Take out the express items from the bag and repackage them according to the distance of the journey. At 8 o'clock, she went to the bus with many people who were working, and delivered goods to each house. After delivering goods to each house, she crossed out a house in her book. If there were goods to return to Hangzhou, she collected them on the spot. After all the goods were delivered, Wei Venfang went directly to the train station and took the train back to Hangzhou. If she has time, she will deliver the goods in the province. If she has no time, Wu Zayawai or his sister will deliver them. Wei Venfang has to go to the airport to find human flesh goods. Wei Venfang is worried and always goes by herself. Anyway, these are long distances. The next day, customers already felt that the goods were delivered very quickly. Their business was developing rapidly. Wu Zayawai and his sister had to go all out to help, so they handed over the business in the market to one of Wu Zayawai's younger brothers. They rented another house in the city. The goods here are in the city and are not mixed with the goods in the market. Sometimes the goods can be combined into one truck. Wu Zayawai simply drove his Ivco and drove around in several places to try to win. One day running down. Although Wei Venfang is very hard every day, and sometimes Wei Venfang falls asleep while standing on the bus, her heart is full. She feels that the days are getting better day by day, and the future is bright. What should she be afraid of if she is tired? He is still young and has plenty of strength. Zhang Chen traveled to several cities and strengthened his judgment. The era of relying on small profits but quick turnover for clothing has passed, and even the era of relying solely on style has passed. He has seen many foreign brands of clothing. The styles are very simple, but the fabrics and workmanship are poor. Very good, very expensive. Zhang Chen had a premonition that this clothing would enter an era of quality and branding. He began to increase advertising efforts and advertised in Rulai and World Fashion Garden. The circulation was even large at that time. An advertisement for half an acre of field also appeared in the magazine that had just been renamed from Reader's Digest to Reader. Xiaoli knew that Zhang Chen had the idea of opening a specialty store in Beijing, so she volunteered and asked to go to Beijing. She said that Shanghai can be completely handed over to Xiaomi. Mr. Zhang, I want to go to Beijing. Zhang Chen asked her why she wanted to go to Beijing so much. Xiaoli said, I have wanted to go to Beijing since I was a child. I just like to work in different places. When I got tired of staying in Hangzhou, I went to Shanghai. Now I am tired of Shanghai, so I just went to Beijing. Xiao Zhao smiled and said, you are tired of staying in the whole country, do you still want to go to a foreign country? Yes, 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 Mr. Zhang, Sister Xiao Zhao, which country do you want to open a store in? I will learn the language of that country, Xiao Li shouted. Beijing's food is worse than Shanghai's, Zhang Chen threatened her. Don't be afraid. I'll bring pickled vegetables and ask my mother to send me dried prunes. Beijing is no better than Shanghai. In Shanghai, we had the path opened by Ge Donghai for us, Zhang Chen said. I know, open a specialty store first. When the store opens, won't there be a lot of people coming? Then we will know more people. If we know more people, let them introduce us to the mall. I can also do it myself. Let's go run, Shanghai 100, the largest in the country, we have done it, Manager Chen believes in us so much, will they be better than Shanghai 100, and better than Manager Chen? I don't believe it. Xiaoli said confidently that Zhang Chen looked at her and knew that she was not acting on a whim, but had really thought about it, so Zhang Chen sent Xiaoli to Beijing. When Xiao Zhao sent Xiaoli to the train station, she came back and said with emotion to Zhang Chen that Xiaoli was so brave. When we arrived in Hangzhou, we were just 2 people, but she dared to go to Beijing alone. Zhang Chen also felt that if she was really asked to go abroad, she would definitely go. The office buildings, dormitories, and distribution center in Sanbeo factory were all built. Lao Wan and the others moved to the spoke factory in Gongcheng Kiao. Lu Ligan's Hangzhou Jinxiu Dadi Construction Engineering Co., Limited was officially established. The factory only hired a few dozen new people this year. When they were placed in the new factory building and dormitory building, they felt empty. After all, it was originally designed for more than 1,000 parking spaces. Zhang Chen wondered if the Stadium Road should be the workshop was moved here. The workers there have all moved here. It doesn't matter if they are from other places. The most important thing is that they are local in Hangzhou. It turns out that the workers of Kuning Garment Factory will find Sanbeo too far away. Lu Ligan and Zhang Chen said, why is Sanbeo far away? Isn't it good for Yiming Food Factory Lao Fan and the others to be in Xiaosha now? Xiaosha is no further than Sanbeo, so the worst thing to do is buy a factory car. Zhang Chen did some calculations and found that by centralizing production, a lot of personnel costs would be saved, such as cutting and back-end work, including handymen, canteens, and finance. Now they are 2 places, so they must be allocated separately and centralized. This part you can save a lot of personnel, and even buying a factory car is cost-effective. Zhang Chen immediately decided to merge the 2 factories into one factory on Tai Road, leaving only Zhang Chen's office and design center, and Xiao Zhao's financial office. Facing the suddenly empty factory area, Zhang Chen remembered Lu Ligan's original plan. He called Lu Ligan over and told him that he decided to transform this place into a sports goods market, which could increase a lot of sales. A big piece of income. Lu Ligan laughed at him. Why, if you don't do charity anymore, you don't want the basketball court anymore. Of course not, Zhang Chen said. To build a sports goods market, it is even more important to gather popularity and people who like sports. Zhang Chen has already thought about tearing down the dynamic zone, basketball court, and garden in front, the factory building and the metasequoia forest behind it, and building a large sports goods wholesale market here. The Stadium Road and Huancheng North Road will be opened at both ends, and the two sides will be removed. There are 2 parking lots, and there is still more than 13,000 square meters to build a market. The market will be built on 2 floors, so it will have more than 20,000 square meters. On the top floor of the market, 2,000 square meters have been set aside for the design center, offices, and dormitories. The other 11,000 square meters have been set aside for indoor badminton and table tennis courts. The remaining 2 will be built. There are a basketball court and 2 tennis courts, and the rest is a garden. This place should be made into a paradise for sports lovers. Okay, let's do it right away. Do you have enough money? If you don't have enough money, Mr. Chiao and the others are here, and ask them to make a loan for you. The return in this market is high enough, so they will definitely be willing to do it, Lu Ligan asked. No, I still have the money myself, Zhang Chen said. I don't want to work for them like you, otherwise I won't do it. Lord and wealthy, Lu Ligan scolded. Zhang Chen laughed. Yes, I'm used to being a rich man. Then work quickly. If you have the money, start immediately. Without further ado, come up with the design draft and ask Wen Wen and Qian to submit it to you for approval. They are now experts. Zhang Chen said yes. Zhang Chen first went to the dynamic zone outside to discuss with several brands. They were all very interested in this market. Of course, they also cared about their own interests. Zhang Chen promised them that after the market was built, they would be the first to choose. At the same time, if the area is expanded, they will be given 1 year's rent exemption based on their existing area. Of course, they were very happy to hear what Zhang Chen said. During the communication with them, Zhang Chen immediately formed an idea, that is, it should not be a stall like the Sijiking clothing market, but should be a store-in-store format. And it is open plan, a brand. We will allocate as much area to you as you need, and charge rent based on the area. In this way, it is still the same as the original M zone. It can be used as a store, an office, or even a company. Those overseas sports brands that come in adopt an agency system. Zhang Chen wants to make this place a domestic and foreign sports goods agent. Gathering place. On the roof of the building facing North Huancheng Road, there will be a separate passage up and down, which is for their company's own use, the design center, Zhang Chen's own office, and Xiao Zhao's financial center. After the factory here was moved and the market was established, their company's finances were still divided into 3 areas, Sanbeo, Yan'an Road, and here. There must be a financial center to manage the finances of the 3 places in a unified way. There are also some dormitories that will be used by future managers and employees here and those on Yan'an Road. The whole idea was mature, and Zhang Chen immediately started painting. Thank you Buletin's Line and Mu Yang's Yang for your monthly votes. Thank you for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 782. Lu Ligan's splendid Jiangnan project has just started construction, and without even advertising, towers A and B have been sold out. First, the market really has this demand, and second, thanks to the mortgage loans provided by Shenzhen Angzhen, business owners know how difficult it is to get loans, but they did not expect that they would come to their doorstep. If they did not do this, they would be afraid of losing this opportunity. They also came to buy some companies that Ying said could not afford a large amount of money at once, but had no problem with down payments and monthly payments. Many of their customers came here through friends bringing friends. At that time, many people were in business and made money, but they were very low-key and relatively united with each other. If they had any difficulties, they would help each other, dozens or hundreds of dollars. One's temporary turnover was taken away with just one phone call and without even needing an IOU. If there is any good thing, I am willing to share it with my friends. For something as good as getting a mortgage to buy an office building, I will even recommend it to my friends. At that time, those who were engaged in business generally had a low level of education and a reckless attitude, but they also had a charlatan attitude and a sense of loyalty and trust in contracts. In addition, the status of private entrepreneurs was not high. Even though each of them had a millionaires, they were not as bloated as they were later. They both still want to hug each other for warmth. At that time, if you were an enterprise, you couldn't expand even if you wanted to. Zone King Hao, the boss of Wahaha, had a large enterprise at that time, but at a local government commendation meeting for large taxpayers, he actually shed tears on the spot. He said that we bosses and CEOs may seem to have a good reputation, but in fact it is just an appearance. A small section chief from the relevant department will ask you to go east, and if he wants you to go west, you must go west. Many of Lu Ligan's splendid jiangnan were purchased by such companies in a group. Mr. Ni alone introduced 7 of them from Qiqiao to buy office buildings from Lu Ligan. After the 2 buildings were sold, Lu Ligan had an income of more than 300 million, which was really an astronomical figure at the time. You must know that the entire Yongcheng County ICBC would not be able to make money until October this year. Celebrate their savings exceeding 100 million yuan. Tower C of Lu Ligan's splendid Jiangnan has also been converted into a pure office building. He wanted to repay the 80 million loan from Nanyang Bank in advance. Mr. Chiao and Mr. Yang refused to agree. Mr. Yang said, "I am still waiting for you. Come ask us to borrow more money and you want to pay that money back." Mr. Chiao also said that as a favor, "Mr. Lu, you should also keep the loan." Lu Ligan was helpless and could only smile bitterly. He felt that the cost of this help was a bit too high, but it was impossible not to help. 80% of his more than 300 million yuan was actually not owned by Mr. Chiao and Mr. Yang. The money just comes to him through each customer. All the properties of Jingxiu Homes have been sold out, and now even the project is in the final stage. The 4 houses of Jingxiu Xiangting on Jiangguo North Road have also been sold out, and they are moving forward to prepare for the development of the second phase, the Jingxiu Jiangnan project. 2 of the 3 buildings were sold, and even the podium building of Building A, which is adjacent to Zhongshan North Road, was bought by a securities company to serve as their headquarters office building. Lu Ligan was eager to develop new projects, but it was precisely on this new project that he ran into trouble. Originally, Lu Ligan and Erking Corporation had even signed an agreement. Erking Corporation had a Hangcheng rubber factory in Wangjiangmen. The factory area was very large, covering an area of more than 80 acres. The rubber factory is surrounded by residential areas. The equipment and facilities of the rubber factory are old and polluted. The residents nearby dare not even expose their white shirts to the sun when a gust of wind blows. The soot in the chimney of the rubber factory will make your white shirt turns into a twist color. The most unbearable thing is that the smell of the rubber factory is very bad. If they work night shift, if you close the doors and windows, you will be woken up by the smell. It happens every month that the surrounding residents collectively go to the rubber factory to block the door. The busier you are in production, the more frequently you will have the door blocked. Hangcheng Rubber Factory produces rain boots and overshoes. It has received a new order. The order is very large. It is a 5-year-long order. It is for the US Marine Corps to produce field boots. The requirements for this kind of boots are very high. They should be lightweight, waterproof and resistant to sharp objects on the battlefield, and the soles must not even be able to penetrate nails. This requires a new assembly line. The way Hangcheng Rubber Factory cooperates with Lu Ligan is the same as Yiming Food Factory. Lu Ligan bought them 60 acres of land in Xiaosha Development Zone to build factories and new assembly lines. In addition, provide liquidity of 1 million yuan. After the agreement between both parties was signed, Lu Ligan was about to go to Xiaosha Development Zone to buy land. At this time, the workers in the factory started making a fuss, saying that they did not agree to the relocation and that Xiaosha was too far away, so they could only build the original factory. Demolish the original building. If you demolish the original and build the original, then you have to wait for the sky to fall. Of course Lu Ligan will not do it. Even if the 200,000 land deposit paid by Xiaosha is wasted, he is not willing to do it. So it stopped. Mr. Nye and others sent a working group in, and it took them a long time to figure out that it was not the workers who were really making trouble, but the son of the former director of the factory who was causing trouble. He also set up a real estate company, and originally wanted to use the rubber factory. 1 or 2 houses were built and sold in every corner of the country. Unexpectedly, Lu Ligan wanted to build 1 house at a time. Many people in the rubber factory, including several deputy directors, were promoted by the old director. They listened to the old director's words. His son encouraged the people below to make a fuss, hoping to force Lu Ligan to come and fight with him. Talk, he also has a hand in this project. The timing was perfect. He must have known that Lu Ligan had already paid the deposit for the land. Mr. Nye and others also advised Lu Ligan to forget it and let him step in as long as the terms of cooperation between the 2 parties were agreed upon. Lu Ligan refused to count. First, he had already made up his mind not to cooperate with others on the project. Second, he knew what this guy did and concluded that he was a villain. It is not terrible for people to have selfish motives, and it is normal. However, there is still a big difference between selfishness and the good or bad nature of a person. If you were like Fan Qishun or Lao Ying from the Spoke Factory, who directly negotiated terms with himself and showed you his selfishness, Lu Ligan felt that such a person would still be above board in doing things and could be dealt with, and he would not let them down. But like this guy, who likes to do things in private, hides behind others, and uses others as guns and cannons to gain his own interests, Lu Ligan feels that it is very unethical and a villain. You cannot cooperate with villains, let alone negotiate terms. Once they are met, he will not feel that you are being modest, but will feel that his trick has worked. He will become Bengali, push for the next step, and use the same trick again and again. Lu Li has decided to quit. The most anxious people are Mr. Nye, Secretary Bao, and the new factory director. Mr. Nye and the others know that the rubber factory cannot stay here and will have to move sooner or later, regardless of whether it is the rubber factory or the Erking general manager. The company simply doesn't have the ability to move. Now that we have this opportunity, we can solve it all at once. The new factory director is a college graduate. He is full of enthusiasm for reform and has spent a lot of energy. With the help of his classmates, he negotiated this order and was about to move the factory, install new equipment, and install new equipment. The new product turned the factory from a loss to a profit in one fell swoop, fulfilling his dream, but he never expected that such a thing would happen. He can deal with foreigners at the negotiation table, but he really doesn't know how to deal with these workers who talk so much about me. The son of the old factory director thought that he could get a small part of the rubber factory, which meant that he had more power in the factory than the new factory director. Lu Ligan quit his job, and the new factory director also threatened that if he didn't work, I wouldn't quit either. I would take the order to a private owner in Wenzhou. This time, Mr. Nye and Secretary Bao were really anxious. How could the duck still fly when it was already in the pot? Lu Ligan was driving his car and was coming out of the company. He wanted to go to Zhongchen to see how his drawings were going. Lu Ligan's big brother rang. Qian quickly picked up and put the big brother on his ear. A voice came out on the phone, "Mr. Lu, I am Lu Chang. Hello, Director Lu. Where are you? Do you have time now? Yes, Director Lu calls. I'll be available anytime. Haha, I'm not that charming. Well, I'll wait for you in the office. Okay, I'll be there soon. As Lu Ligan said this, he turned left on Stadium Road and went onto Yan'an Road. It seemed that Mr. Nye and Secretary Bao had gone to Director Lu for help. Lu Ligan was thinking about how he should deal with it. He thought, Lu Ligan the director would definitely advise him to continue the contract no matter what difficulties he encountered. But Lu Ligan knew that if the guy didn't move away or kill him, he would always be like a leech nailing him. Lu Ligan arrived at Director Liu's office. There was another person in the office, but it was not Mr. Nye or Secretary Bao, but Director Zhou of the Agency Affairs Management Bureau under their City Government General Office. Director Lu held Lu Ligan's hand, pulled him to sit down, and said to him, Mr. Lu, I saw your splendid Jiangnan project. Oh, we never dreamed that one day we would be able to live in such a bright and open place. Working in the office, unfortunately, I can only think about it. No, Lu Ligan said, I have seen government agencies in Shenzhen working in buildings like this. I think it won't be long before you, Director Lu, will do the same. Okay, let me lend you some good advice, Lao Zhou, and we'll be waiting, Director Lu said with a smile. Shenzhen is a special zone, and we don't dare to compare with them, Director Zhou said. Did you see that our office was arranged by Director Zhou? He backed off first, so how could we have any hope, Director Lu said, and both Lu Ligan and Director Zhou laughed. Director Lu and Lu Ligan said, no, Director Zhou comes to me every day to complain, and I have nothing to do. After thinking about it, I have to find you. The idea of running a city you told me last time is very new. I told the mayor, and he also thought it was very enlightening, but he just didn't know how to operate it. Lu Ligan remembered it, and he said to Director Lu, by the way, I have a friend who is from Hong Kong. He is an expert in real estate. It can be said that he knows the real estate situation all over the world and the domestic real estate market. Also very insightful. In a few days, the Shanghai municipal government will invite him to give a lecture. I have made an appointment with him. After the lecture, he will come to my place to visit. Director Lu can then meet him. He is better than me in this regard. Make it clear. Okay, then we also ask him to give us a good lecture and brainwash us, Director Lu shouted. However, Director Zhou has a problem before him. I asked Mr. Lu to come and see if I can help with some ideas, Director Lu said. Lu Ligan quickly turned to Director Zhou and said, Director Zhou, if there is anything I can do to help, I will definitely help. Director Zhou told Lu Ligan the matter. It turns out that the government has more and more departments now. There is no way. If one is set up at the top, a corresponding department will be added below. The affairs of each unit are also becoming more and more complicated. There are more and more people, of course. 10 years ago, our entire government-affiliated units had only more than 500 people. Now we have more than 3,000 people. But the offices, or the buildings you see, are far from enough. The responsibility for this is all on me. But where can I find so many houses? Director Zhou and Lu Ligan even complained to Director Lu. Lu Ligan thought, that's not easy. There are not enough offices, so build them. Otherwise, what else can you do? Just as Lu Ligan was about to speak, Director Lu said, don't talk to me about building an office building. I just don't have the money to build an office building now. The central government also strictly controls the funds for building buildings and halls. Thank you to the third one from the top, Dal Tin Soldier, and on the shore 131 for your tip. Thank you Murin, Bailiang, Tianying 1978, and Not Impossible World for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 783. Lu Ligan was stunned. Director Zhou and Lu Ligan said, "Ignore him. He is not talking to you, but to me. Every time I talk about office buildings, he says this to me. The third chapter, I can hear calluses in my ears, but when it comes to spanking, I never show mercy." Director Lu also laughed and said, "It's not me who wants to spank you, but the secretary and the mayor. They want to spank me too. Lao Zhou, you dare to mention the matter of building a building in front of me. I'm in the position of the secretary and mayor. In front of me, you dare not say a word. Are you still aggrieved?" "You know the most I can do is just talk about it," Director Zhou said. "It's hard to build a new office building and still need offices," Lu Ligan said. "Yes, Mr. Liu's words are fair," Director Zhou said. "That's it? With your short winter melon appearance, it's almost enough to say that you are Wu Dalan's twin brother. You are embarrassed to say that you are a clever woman and you are not ashamed." Director Lu scolded and Director Zhou chuckled. It was obvious that the two people had a good relationship. "Then we can only find a solution within the existing resources," Lu Ligan said. "I don't know what resources Director Zhou has here. Let's go to my place and I'll show you," Director Zhou called. Lu Ligan looked at Director Lu, who waved his hand. Lu Ligan followed Director Zhou, but Director Zhou took him out of the building and did not go to other buildings. Instead, he walked along a path to one side of the yard. There was a row of bungalows there, which Lu Ligan thought was. "When I got closer to the gardener's house, I saw that the entire Government Affairs Bureau was located here. It was really shabby. Director Zhou's office is in the same room as the other two deputy directors. There is only a metal file cabinet in the middle. There are 3 partitions, which are not even partitions. Director Zhou's desk, in the innermost partition." Director Zhou asked Lu Ligan to sit across from the desk. He turned around and took out the key, opened the metal filing cabinet behind him, took out several stacks of real estate certificates, piled them on the desk in front of him, and said to Lu Ligan, "Look, all my family assets are here." Lu Ligan flipped through the real estate certificates in front of him. He saw a real estate certificate. The house was located at the intersection of Yan'an Road and Fenki Road. He looked at the house, which was only more than 3,000 square meters. Lu Ligan often passed by there and noticed this house. He knew that this house was a 2-story factory-shaped house with an iron gate on the side. Inside the iron gate, there seemed to be a large yard. Lu Ligan asked Director Zhou, "Director Zhou, do you have the land certificate for this house?" "Why do you need a land certificate?" Director Zhou took the real estate certificate and asked doubtfully, but turned around and started looking for it in the iron cabinet again. "I remember there is a yard behind this house," Lu Ligan asked. "Yes, there is a courtyard," Director Zhou said as he continued to search. "I found it, this is it." Director Zhou gave a land certificate to Lu Ligan. Lu Ligan opened it and looked at it. His memory was indeed correct. There was a large yard behind the building. The entire land covered more than 21 acres. Lu Ligan said, "The yard behind this house is not small." Director Zhou is right, this place was originally an agricultural machinery company under the Bureau of Materials. The open space behind it was used to park tractors and agricultural machinery. Later, even tractors were not allowed in the city, so the agricultural machinery company was moved out. What units are currently in use in that building? The Federation of Literary and Art Circles and the Academy of Social Sciences. This place is not small enough to build an office building. I have plenty of land here, but I can't build a building and I don't have the money, Director Zhou said. Didn't you hear what Director Lu said earlier? If you don't have money, you can find someone with money to cooperate. It won't cost you a penny. This doesn't violate the policy, right? Lou Ligon said with a smile. It didn't cost a penny, it was picked up for free. Is there such a good thing? It's not just for free. You take out the land and others pay to build the house. Once the house is built, the two parties will distribute it proportionally, Lou Ligon said. Director Joe's eyes lit up and he shouted, "Don't tell me, this is really a good idea." He thought for a while, then shook his head and said, "However, there should be no such fool. He has money and can just find a piece of land to build on his own. Why should he ask us to cooperate? It's different. Your land is in a good location. You can't find such a good location elsewhere." Director Joe nodded, showing interest, and said, "Tell me, Mr. Lou, if you were the partner, what conditions would you have?" Lou Ligon did some calculations and said, "If it were me, I would build 3 18-story houses with an area of 90,000 square meters here. I only need 15,000 square meters of street-level houses on the first to third floors, plus the underground parking lot and the above-ground parking lot inside are still yours." "How much?" 90,000 square meters, minus 15,000 square meters, there are still 75,000 square meters. "We don't want to pay a penny." Director Joe looked at Lou Ligon and asked in disbelief. Lou Ligon nodded. He had just calculated in his mind that a house of 90,000 square meters would cost about more than 40 million if it were based on the requirements of a general office building. For a storefront building of 15,000 square meters, after all the costs are included, the cost would be about at 2,080 square. If you build it yourself, you will spend 40,000 yuan to get these 15,000 square meters. If you just rent it out, the annual rent can cover the interest of Nanyang Bank. Even if you just use Nanyang Bank's money, it's all cost-effective to build. There is also a parking lot on the underground floor. This parking lot can cover more than 10,000 square meters. When Fan Jiangguo came back a few days ago, he told him that underground parking spaces in Hong Kong are more expensive than houses. Lu Lijiang feels that it is very possible when there are more cars. After hearing the conversation inside them, the other two deputy directors also came in. One said, "If this is the case, except for the 4 teams left in this compound, all other departments will move out. This place will be empty, and there will be more than enough there." Another person said, "Yes, we can also bring back some units that rent houses outside, and we can save a lot on rent." Director Joe stood up and laughed. He grabbed Lou Ligon's hand with his left hand, picked up the real estate certificate and land certificate on the table with his right hand, and shouted, "Come on, I won't let you go today, you follow me, go see Director Lou." He told the other two, "Please help me clean up the table." The two said, "Okay, you go quickly." Director Joe took Lou Ligon back to Director Liu's office. He laughed as soon as he walked in and told Director Lou that I caught a big fish. He sat down and told Director Lou what Lou Ligon had just said. Director Liu's eyes also lit up. He thought that this not only solved the money problem, but the most important thing was that when this group of comprehensive office buildings was built, the city government didn't spend a penny, and no matter how you think about it, it doesn't seem to violate the above-mentioned policies. He looked at Lou Ligon and said, "Is this possible?" Lou Ligon nodded and said, "Okay. Are you willing to do it?" "I will do it," Lou Ligon said honestly. "I won't lose money if I do it." "Oh, reveal your business secrets." "Don't worry, Lao Zhou and I won't tell anyone. We are just curious," Director Lou said. "That's right," Director Joe also nodded. Lou Ligon didn't hide it at that moment, and told them that he had a loan from Nanyang Bank. He said that if he came to do it, he would use this loan to build this group of comprehensive office buildings, and get that he would rent out the 3-story street house and use the rent to pay the interest of Nanyang Bank and the remaining balance. As for Nanyang Bank's loan, he can refinance it when it expires, so he doesn't have to worry about the principal. Listening to Lou Ligon's calculations, Director Lou and Director Joe also understood that the plan Lou Ligon mentioned was indeed feasible, and he would not lose money if he did this. The more than 40 million, even though it was someone else's, yes, but the key is that Lou Ligon has this control. He is like building blocks and grafting the resources of all parties together to get it done. Now I understand a little bit about the concept of running a city you mentioned, Director Lou said. I will report this plan and hope to promote it. If that happens, you will never be able to spank me again, Director Joe said. More than a week later, Director Joe personally went to Lou Ligon's office and told him that your plan has been approved by the Municipal Party Committee and government. Mr. Lou, from now on, you can't escape. I will keep an eye on you. You have to do it, you have to do it, you have to do it. Even if you don't, tell me quickly, when will we sign the agreement? Lou Ligon laughed and said, okay, Director Joe, I can sign it now. Have you brought the agreement? If not, I will follow you. You can't escape. Director Joe laughed. 3 days later, Zhejiang Dadi Real Estate Co., Limited and the Hangzhou City Government Affairs Bureau signed a cooperation project to develop a comprehensive office building in Hangzhou City at the intersection of Yan'an Road and Fengqi Road. After discussing with Secretary Bao, Mr. Nai and Secretary Bao decided that there was nothing they could do. The son of the old bastard director of the Hangcheng rubber factory was always hiding behind him. He was waiting for Lou Ligon to ask him for help, and Lou Ligon, he also made it clear to Mr. Nai and others that it was impossible to cooperate with him. The director of the Hangcheng rubber factory called them several times a day, threatening that he would give up his job and leave. If that happened, the plan to move the factory and install a new assembly line would be cancelled along with the order, and all the early efforts would be in vain. The Hangcheng rubber factory will once again become a big problem for them. The old factory director's son refused to talk to them because the things he wanted to talk about couldn't be brought to the table and there was nothing to talk about. They could only attack Lou Ligon. After discussing for a long time, the two people still decided to go to Director Lou. They knew that Director Lou had a good relationship with Lou Ligon and Zhang Chen. If necessary, they could ask Zhang Chen to persuade Lou Ligon. The two people arrived at Director Liu's office. Director Lou felt depressed after hearing what they had said. He wanted to arrest the sabotage bastard, but there was really no evidence. He thought for a while, stood up and walked out. When he came back, he handed a copy of Hangcheng Daily to Mr. Nai and said to him, "Come on, Lao Nai, I'll give you a demon-slaying knife." Mr. Nai took it over to look at, and then showed it to Secretary Bao. It contained news that Lou Ligon's company was cooperating with the Government Affairs Bureau to develop the municipal government's comprehensive office building. The two looked at Director Lou, and Director Lou asked, "Don't understand." Both men laughed and made it clear. The college student director of the Hangcheng rubber factory finally got tough. He called the two deputy directors to the office and told them, "Take this to Lao Yu and let him weigh his weight and how much he weighs. Don't think that I don't know what he, his son, and you are doing. Let me tell you, if this factory is moved, no, I can't get new projects, so get out of here, and Lao Yu won't be able to survive even after he retires." Lao Yu is the old factory director who has retired. The next day, the workers who caused trouble all returned to their posts. Thank you to Laughing and Running Y for the tip. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 784. Zhangchen's sporting goods wholesale market has started construction. If it is completed one day earlier, it will be profitable one day earlier. The entire market is a frame structure and needs to be cast in place. After the entire frame is completed, the only thing left is the internal and external decoration, and the interior decoration is basically it is the business of those business owners who enter the market. Lou Ligon suggested that this project should not be handed over to Lao Wan, but to Zhang Mushin and his colleagues in the second city construction. The second city construction has more equipment and more people. If it is not enough, they can go to the first and third construction of the city. The speed will be very fast. Quick. Zhang Chen accepted Lu Ligan's suggestion and handed over the project to Zhang Mushin, who started working day and night. The construction here had just begun. Lu Ligan suggested that Zhang Chen place 3 full-page investment advertisements in the sports news, and published 2 full-page investment advertisements in the new sports magazine, which was a great success. All domestic sporting goods brands came to Hangzhou to plan their Hangzhou branches on the spot. There are also companies that come to negotiate with authorization letters from foreign brands. When given this opportunity, they regard this place as their first stop to enter the Chinese market. What Zhang Chen didn't expect was that even the badminton and table tennis halls on their roof had people coming to negotiate about renting and setting up badminton and table tennis training classes. Zhejiang has always been a big province of badminton and table tennis. Badminton has produced badminton queen Li Lingwei, and table tennis has produced Olympic champion Lu Lin. The venue here for Zhang Chen and his colleagues is large enough and the rent is not expensive. It is just right to hold training classes. Those who came to negotiate were all retired members of the national team. Zhang Chen had only seen them on TV and in newspapers before. He never thought that he would be lucky enough to have sex with them. His mood was just like that of Xiaoli when they were on Huihei Middle Road. Specialty store, like seeing a star. Zhang Chen explained to them his purpose of opening these sports venues here. Although they didn't know Zhang Chen, they had heard about half-an-acre field. Zhang Chen told them, "I can rent this place to you at a very cheap price. I also hope that you can cultivate excellent athletes in this venue. If your team can achieve results in the future, our market can in turn sponsor it. You participate in various competitions." They agreed with Zhang Chen's idea. The badminton hall and table tennis hall upstairs were quickly rented out. The basketball court and tennis court were still open to the public free of charge. Zhang Chen and their market continue to use the name Dynamic Zone. The decoration plan for the exterior of the market designed by Zhang Chen makes their Dynamic Zone look less like a market and more like a large sports venue. The provincial gymnasium next to them echoes each other. Except for the necessary channels that cannot be moved, the entire market can be freely divided into different sizes according to the needs of each brand. There are no regular requirements. This is in line with the free spirit of sports and will not be given to people who come to the market. A sense of monotony. The single area of the market is too large. Zhang Chen designed an atrium in the middle of the market where you can eat, drink coffee and rest. There are stairs connecting the first floor to the second floor to the roof. When you walk out, you can see the garden on the roof. You can still eat, drink coffee and rest here. Zhang Chen planned that the business hours of the entire market below are different from other markets in Hangzhou. It opens at 9 o'clock in the morning and closes at night, which is the same as the closing time of the rooftop stadium, which is 10 o'clock. To make this place truly create a paradise for sports lovers. When there are games between the Bienbian Provincial Stadium and the opposite stadium, this is their transition station and diversion point. The market rent, calculated by square meter, is 6 yuan per square meter per day on the first floor and 4 yuan per square meter per day on the second floor. This rent is also very reasonable. There are more than 24,000 square meters on the market, and they are quickly booked. In terms of market rent alone, Zhang Chen will earn more than 40 million yuan per year. Zhang Chen finally breathed a sigh of relief and felt that his pressure was not so great anymore. It is also understood why Lu Ligan and Meng Ping are addicted to real estate. Compared with real estate, other businesses are really small businesses. But for Zhang Chen, this is just a matter of using his own space. He has no plans to enter the real estate market from now on. This is not his hobby, and it was also an agreement he made with Lu Lipol. Zhang Chen hired Hagen to be the general manager of this market. Although Hagen originally only had experience in managing the clothing market, as long as it is a market, no matter what you sell, your daily work content is similar. With Hagen here, Zhang Chen can completely let go of this market and focus his energy on clothing. Xiaoli called from Beijing and said that she had already identified the addresses of several specialty stores and asked Zhang Chen to go and have a look. Lu Ligan and He Hongmei went with him. There were so many people that they could help give ideas. Xiaoli had been looking for a store with Zhang Chen in Shanghai last time and knew what he was thinking. The first store she recommended to Zhang Chen was on Wangfujing Street, near Ganyuhutong. Sure enough, Zhang Chen fell in love with this place at a glance and made up his mind at that time. He was not interested in seeing other places. Xiaoli found a decoration company. After Zhang Chen communicated with them, he asked them to come up with a plan based on the Shanghai Huihai Road store. After Zhang Chen revised it, he asked them to quote a price. As long as the price was reasonable, he was ready to start construction. The other party knew that Zhang Chen was an expert and knew what was going on. When it came to materials and quotations, he did not dare to fish in troubled waters. The two parties signed an agreement the next day. When everyone arrived in Beijing, Zhang Chen asked Lu Ligan, "Why don't you go and see Sun Ho and the others?" Lu Ligan said, "Everything is over, what's good to see? What can we say when we meet? It's just embarrassing." Zhang Chen thought about it and said nothing more. What Zhang Chen didn't tell Lu Ligan was that he actually went to see Sun Ho when he came to Beijing last time. Not only did he meet Sun Ho, but he also met Huang Jianren. Sun Ho and Huang Jianren also invited Zhang Chen to have a meal. But the three of them were very careful not to mention Lu Ligan when they met or had dinner, as if this person did not exist at all. If Lu Ligan was not mentioned, Zheng Wei was not mentioned, and the main purpose of Zhang Chen's search for Sun Ho was to ask him if he knew the whereabouts of Chen Qiang, Li Yong, and Lu Yun. The last time Qianfang and the others went to Hangzhou, Qianfang quietly told Zhang Chen that Lu Yun should not be in Nanjing. There were only 2 golf courses under construction around Nanjing, one in Tangshan, invested by Hong Kong people, and another, the Tianmu Lake in Liang, was invested by Taiwanese, but Shi and Su Jiaking looked for it, and there was no Lu Yun in either place. The people there had never even heard of Lu Yun. Sun Ho also had no news about Qiang, Li Yong, and Lu Yun. He and Zhang Chen said that their classmates who were still in Hainan seemed to have disappeared at the same time. "Where's Zheng Wei? Don't you want to go find her?" Zhang Chen asked Lu Ligan. Lu Ligan was silent for a while and said, "She is no longer in Beijing and has gone abroad." "How do you know?" "Huang Jianren told me that she went abroad after returning from Haikan." Zhang Chen nodded. "By the way, Zhang Chen, you should take Xiaoli to see Sun Ho. She is in Beijing. If anything happens, Sun Ho will still help," Lu Ligan and Zhang Chen said. "Do you still believe him?" Zhang Chen asked. "He is not a bad person, he probably can't help himself," Lu Ligan said. "By the way, when you see him, don't tell me that I am also in Beijing." Zhang Chen agreed, and Lu Ligan's words reminded Zhang Chen that he should indeed take Xiaoli to meet Sun Ho. With Sun Ho's help, Xiaoli would go much smoother in Beijing, and at least he could rest assured. Zhang Chen called Sun Ho and told him that he had come to Beijing and that he was going to open his own clothing store in Wangfujing. "Great, Zhang Chen, do you need help from me?" Sun Ho shouted. Zhang Chen told him that he wanted to introduce people from his company to you. The little girl is alone in Beijing. If anything happens, please help her. "I didn't say anything, Zhang Chen. Your business is my brother's business. In this way, aren't you in Wangfujing? We will cook mutton in Dongleshan in the evening. Don't worry about it. I'll let someone book a table here. My name is Huang Jianren and he and his wife are also here." Sun Ho said. "Yes, I remembered it," Zhang Chen said with a smile. "Last time when my Hangzhou store opened, this little girl met Huang Jianren and the others." "Really, That's better, Zhang Chen, we'll see you tonight. Okay, see you tonight, monkey. After hanging up the phone, Zhang Chen told Xiao Li that they were going to have dinner with Sun Ho and Huang Jianren in the evening. Xiao Li didn't know Sun Ho and had forgotten that there were so many people from Hainan that day. Who were Huang Jianren and his wife? He Hung Mei said from the side, idiot, that big shot, that lady. When He Hung Mei said this, Xiao Li remembered that Huang Jianren's wife, Xiao Huang, was so impressive that day. Xiao Li laughed and said, Mr. Zhang, you also said that we were not familiar with each other in Beijing. That's great. We have met so many important people now. Zhang Chen and the others stayed at the Tianlun Dynasty Hotel in Wangfujing, which was only 800 or 900 meters away from Dongleshun and along Wangfujing Street. In the evening, when the agreed time came, Zhang Chen took Xiao Li and He Hung Mei and prepared to set off. Lu Ligan suddenly stood up and said, I'll go too. Zhang Chen looked at him, and Lu Ligan smiled strangely. He said, this page must be turned. Zhang Chen nodded. When the waiter led them into the Dongleshun box, Sun Ho and Huang Jianren were already in the box. When the three of them saw Zhang Chen come in, they stood up with a smile. When they saw Lu Ligan again, the three of them were stunned. Once there, the smile on his face solidified. Sun Ho came over immediately and walked in front of Lu Lizan. The two hugged each other without stopping for a moment. Zhang Chen heard Sun Ho say, Gangzi, I'm sorry. I choked up. Huang Jianren and his wife also came over. Thank you to Laughing and Running Y and reading books every day for the reward. Thank you to Tianyi Shenzhou and Bulletin Dixian for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all a happy life. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 785. Zhang Mushan has been working in construction for so many years, and for the first time he feels the pressure of construction progress. Zhang Chen's dynamic zone is required to open on October 1st, and Zhang Chen himself keeps an eye on the construction site almost every day. Fortunately, this project is a frame structure, and the weather is good during this period, so Zhang Mushan arranged for 24-hour continuous pouring, which is beneficial to the quality of the entire project. Zhang Mushan reported to first construction and third construction Jian asked for help, and everyone was very helpful. As soon as Zhang Mushan took over several projects from Lu Ligan, he, like Fan Qishun, became a celebrity in their system, and his words still carry some weight. Everyone has been stimulated by the Shenzhen speed of building one floor in 3 days. The workers at that time were really willing to work and worked hard. As long as they had money, they were not afraid of working overtime, and no relevant department would think there was anything wrong with working overtime. Aren't they all saying time is money? In the past, voluntary labor on Saturdays was advocated, but now paid overtime is only better for workers. The inside was poured to the second floor, and the outside decoration began. During that period, more than a dozen decoration companies rushed to Zhang Chen's construction site. If you add the decoration companies hired by the merchants inside, it can almost be said that Hangzhou everything in the city that can do renovations is here. Zhang Chen saw the two long-haired masters of cultural advertising running in and out at the back door of the Hangcheng Theater. He didn't know which company they were working for, and they had long forgotten about Zhang Chen. I don't know that the boss here once came to his store to find a job, and was ridiculed by him. Old Tang introduced some of his classmates to make some extra money. Okay, come on, I'm short of people here. There's only one room in the market to make Chinese and English signage, which is enough for you. Zhang Chen asked Hai Jian, leave these jobs to them. The business operators inside also know that the opening will be on October 1st, and they are also scrambling for time. Fortunately, the decoration inside is much simpler, with the focus on the door. There are many tasks at the door that can be made outside first, and then assembled. Can Zhang Chen and the others are in such a hurry here, and the relevant departments have given the green light all the way. The fire protection facilities have just been installed, and the fire inspection and acceptance personnel have arrived, and they have quickly passed the inspection. Zhang Mushan and his friends have just poured the roof of their building, and the house inspection and acceptance personnel have also arrived. This Zhang Mushan was already familiar with him, so there was no problem. This project is now a key project in Hangzhou, and all departments have no choice but to pay attention to it. Zhang Chen couldn't rush even if he wanted to. Because on October 1st, an important person is coming to Hangzhou to cut the ribbon for their market. Of course the Hangzhou city government is happy with this. There are so many markets in Hangzhou, and the opening of this market has the highest standards. It is said that CCTV's news network will report it, which will be of great benefit to increasing the visibility of Hangzhou. The reason why important people attended this ribbon-cutting ceremony is said to be because the 101st plenary session of the International Olympic Committee was held in Monte Carlo, Monaco, the previous year, on September 23, 1993, at which the 2000 Olympic Games was voted on. When it came to hosting the Olympics, Beijing, China, lost to Sydney, Australia, by 2 votes. This has had a great impact on the country, especially the comrades on the sports front, and their morale is low. Taking advantage of this place where domestic and foreign sports brands gather, important figures want to show the world that our determination to open to the outside world has not changed and our determination to deepen reform has not changed. Nothing will change, and our sports undertakings and sports industry will become more vigorous and prosperous. Of course, this is also the result of the efforts of Huang Jianren's wife, Xiao Huang. While still having dinner at Dongleshun, Zhang Chen introduced the dynamic zone he was working on to Sun Ho and Huang Jianren. Xiao Huang asked if he needed to cheer up. Everyone here knew what cheering meant. From Zhang Chen's heart, of course it was best for him to do everything quietly. But both Lu Ligan and Sun Ho thought it was not possible. Sun Ho said that the market was open for business and there was no movement. Even the beating of gongs and drums would make some noise. Where can there be silence? Do you think it is a sniper war on the battlefield? Lu Ligan also said that the disaster you caused last time was only a little overturned, but not completely restored. Take this opportunity to fully recover. Sun Ho and the others asked what the trouble was. Lu Ligan told them, and everyone at the table laughed. Xiao Huang said, "Okay, that is to have an important person to cheer you on, and someone to give you extra points for your Hangzhou-style women's clothing. You will open a specialty store here. When the time comes, will there be people from your city coming to Beijing?" "Definitely," Lu Ligan said. "Then give them a surprise," Xiao Huang said. Zhang Chen wondered if it would be too much trouble. Xiao Huang said it would not be troublesome. "If I ask others for help, they would also ask me for help. We all help each other like this." Xiao Huang said, "As for who will go, I will let you know after I decide," and Zhang Chen quickly agreed. However, when their Beijing store opened, Xiao Huang was sure at that time. She said that she would invite a leader related to clothing to attend. This leader used to serve as Director B of the Ministry of Textile Industry. She was also a consultant to the China Garment Association. She would definitely be happy to come here to cut the ribbon. Lu Ligan said, "Yes, this is also a strong support for Hangzhou to send women's clothing to Beijing." Xiao Huang smiled and said, "It's true, now he is even more famous." Sun Ho digressed and told Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan that, like our old men, these old comrades now have very strict requirements for their children and almost always have a straight face, but they are generally very strict with their grandchildren. She dotes on them and almost obeys them. She probably thinks that they are still babies and what mistakes they can make. I don't know how smart babies are today." Everyone laughed, and Xiao Huang punched him. Huang Jianren said that old comrades still believe in Comrade Lenin's saying that God will forgive young people if they make mistakes. When Xiao Huan called Zhang Chen and told Zhang Chen that so and so would be coming, everything was settled and could not be changed. Because there was a formal channel, notifications were also sent out at all levels. This notification was more than a week later than Xiao Huang. It was also notified to Zhang Chen, asking him to make preparations in all aspects. Zhang Chen could only move forward desperately. Rush. Construction of the Hangzhou City Government Comprehensive Office Building project at the intersection of Yan'an Road and Fengqi Road has also started, as has the Xiaosha Economic Development Zone and the Hangcheng Rubber Factory project. Hangcheng Rubber Factory is still in production, so it will have to wait until the first half of next year, when the factory in Xiaosha is built and the new assembly line is installed, and then the entire factory is completely moved there. Only then can Lu Ligan move to Wangjiangmen. However, notices that the Hangcheng rubber factory will be relocated have been posted everywhere in Wangjiangmen, so there are no more people blocking the door. Everyone feels that they can just endure it until next year. Tan Shahen participated in the Kahua Cup Young Singer Grand Prix and won the first place. After returning to Yongcheng, she naturally became famous again, but she soon settled down to train. Now the entire Yongcheng County while looking forward to Tan Shahen's performance in the CCTV Young Singer Grand Prix in November, how could she not be interested? Teacher She took Tan Shahen to Hangzhou several times, always taking her to seek advice from professional singers and vocal teachers from Zhejiang and Hangzhou, especially the three professional groups who had also obtained qualifications to enter Beijing. Players. Every time they came to Hangzhou, President Mao assumed that Tan Shahen was on business, and even teacher She's room and board expenses were reimbursed by their bank. Before going to Beijing to compete in November, there is another competition that Tan Shahen feels is not important to her at all, but is very important to their unit and President Mao, and that is the National Industrial and Commercial Bank of China system held in Hangzhou. In the National Day Singing Competition, Tan Shahen and Shen Linlin will both represent Hangzhou Industrial and Commercial Bank of China. This is directly related to the reputation of the company. The company has helped me so much, how could I not pay attention to it? Because it is a national industrial and commercial banking system competition, with more than 70 teams participating and a large number of participants and spectators, the competition was held at the Zhejiang Provincial Gymnasium. The competition will be held for one day on September 30th, with preliminaries during the day and finals at night. For this competition, teacher She did not come, but President Mao personally brought them here. They lived in the International Building not far from the Provincial Gymnasium. In the morning, Tan Shahen was sitting in the elderly car. When passing by next door, Mao seeing the chief said, "This place will open tomorrow." Tan Shahen looked outside and was surprised to see Zhang Chen standing at the door, talking to someone. Tan Shahen was stunned for a moment and thought, isn't this place selling sporting goods? Why is Zhang Chen here? Do they also make sportswear now? When the car turned into the Bienbian Provincial Gymnasium, Tan Shahen remembered, wasn't Zhang Chen originally a decorator? He was probably doing decoration at the same time as he was making clothes. The things he designed were so good, there must be a lot of them. People are looking for him. He must be working on a project here. Tan Shahen couldn't help but smile. In the preliminaries during the day, both Tan Shahen and Shen Linlin successfully entered the top 24 finals in the evening. The finals in the evening were very simple. Each of the 24 contestants went on stage to sing a song. When singing, the audience invited the judges wrote down the scores they thought they could give on a table with 24 numbers. At the end of the competition, the 12 forms from all 12 judges are collected together and the total is calculated. The three with the highest scores are the top three, and the others are the winning prizes. In the evening game, everyone was optimistic about Tan Shahen, so all the leaders of the provincial and municipal banks attended. President Mao and Tan Shahen and Shen Linlin said, "Come on, I heard that the celebration banquet of the provincial bank has been set up in the evening, and I am waiting for your good news." President Mao's words were directed at the two of them, but both those who spoke and those who listened understood in their hearts that these words were only meant for Tan Shahen. When President Mao turned around, Shen Linlin curled her lips and said, "I sneered in my heart." She knew that she was just a foil. Even in President Mao's eyes, she was redundant. Shen Linlin was also a woman. Of course she could see that. President Mao wanted to be alone with Tan Shahen than with the two of them. It's just that there is a veteran singer like Shen Linlin in the industry. It's unreasonable not to let her participate in such a competition. As for Shen Linlin, this is a matter of the unit. If she doesn't come, it can't be justified. It depends on her own temper. She doesn't want to be a part of it. This foil, this coward, made Mr. Mao look disgusted. In the evening competition, 24 people finished singing one after another. While the judges were still making selections, President Mao became excited while sitting in the auditorium of the Zhejiang representative team. It could be heard from the applause of the audience that the champion was Tan Shahen. No wonder, you must know that most of the audience are also contestants, and they can still tell the difference between good and bad. In fact, before this, everyone, whether it is the audience or the judges, knows that number 12, who will participate in the finals tonight, has been selected for the finals of this year's CCTV Young Singer Grand Prix. Even before Tan Shahen came on stage, everyone was looking forward to it. After Tan Shahen finished singing "I Love You, China," everyone felt that she was indeed well deserved. The president of the provincial bank sat in the first row in front, accompanying the leaders of the head office. He turned around and gave them a thumbs up. President Mao and the president of the municipal bank nodded excitedly. As everyone expected, Tan Shahen won first place in tonight's competition, and Shen Linlin won a prize. Thank you to Dal Tin Soldier, reading books every day, and On the Shore 131 for the rewards. Thank you Tianying 1978 for your monthly ticket. Thank you for all the votes and reading. I wish you all a happy life. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 786. Buses drove out of the provincial stadium one after another. The dynamic zone next door was still brightly lit, and many people were still busy preparing for the opening tomorrow. In the empty parking lot at the gate, security guards were conducting queue training. Through the car window, Tan Shahen did not see Zhang Chen again. Their car followed closely behind the bus convoy, and there were many other cars with them. They are going to the hotel affiliated to the provincial bank. Tonight, all the contestants, judges, the vice president of the head office, and the heads of each participating team will have a celebration banquet in the restaurant of the hotel. Tomorrow is the national day. These people will go to Kiandao Lake to play together, and then divide their things. The hall was lively and bustling, with more than a dozen tables set up, and all the food and wine had been served. In the 3 boxes on the side, one held the president and vice president of the provincial bank, the vice president accompanying the head office, and 3 others. Judges invited from Beijing. In the second box was the office director of the provincial branch, accompanying other judges invited from Hangzhou. The third box is what President Mao, Tan Shahen, and Shen Linlin of the Yongcheng County branch said. The box for the celebration banquet was attended by a vice president of the provincial branch and the chairman of the labor union, as well as the president and 2 vice presidents of the municipal branch. The president and the chairman of the labor union, as well as President Mao, Tan Shahen, and Shen Linlin. Shen Linlin was not qualified to sit here. She should be sitting in the hall outside with other contestants, but because she was with Tan Shahen and they all came from Yongchen with President Mao, she couldn't say. 3 people from Yongchen, 2 sat inside and 1 went to sit outside. Shen Linlin herself knew that she was sitting here because of Tan Shahen's influence, but she was sitting here, and to the other people in the box, she actually did not exist. Everyone at the table called her Xiao Tan, Xiao Xiao. 10. No one even asked Shen Linlin her last name. They only knew that she and Tan Shahen were both from Yongcheng. The vice president of the provincial bank and President Mao of the Yongcheng branch said that your Yongcheng is not simple and has a large number of talents. Look, 24 people from across the country entered the finals, and only 2 from your Yongcheng. Only in this sentence, Shen Linlin appeared for a moment, and then disappeared completely. Everyone even toasted together. The vice president of the provincial bank finished his drink, and the others followed suit. Only Tan Shahen still had wine in her glass. The vice president looking at Tan Shahen. Tan Shahen quickly said that I don't know how to drink. The other people said, it's okay. I won't go to work tomorrow and there will be no competition. Drink and have a good sleep. Tan Shahen had no choice but to drink. She had already had several drinks at the beginning. You can't say that you drank when the vice president toasted you, you didn't drink when the union chairman touched you, you drank when the provincial bank drank with you, and you drank when the city bank drank with you. If you don't drink, that would be too hurtful. In fact, Shen Linlin also took a sip and stopped drinking, but no one would pay attention to her and ask her to finish the drink. Shen Linlin sat there with a smile on her face, looking at these men. Shen Linlin sneered in her heart. Tan Shahen drank a few glasses of wine, her face was full of peach blossoms, and she had a different kind of grace when she looked at people or talked, which made the atmosphere in the box even more lively. Manager Mao from the Yongcheng County branch was standing nearby. Compared with other people, he was a young man today, so he was too embarrassed to hold off Tan Shahen's drink. In turn, he advised, drink, drink, it's okay, the alcohol content is not high, and I won't go to work tomorrow. If he didn't persuade Tan Shahen to drink the wine, it would be disrespectful to others that he was incompetent in leading troops. Tan Shahen had never been drunk before, so she didn't know what it would be like to be drunk. She just felt that she was still sober. As long as she was sober, she should be fine, right? She didn't know that wine had staying power. Shen Linlin sat next to Tan Shahen. She knew that Tan Shahen would definitely be drunk today, but she kept smiling and even pretended to have drunk too much. Shen Linlin felt that there was something good to watch tonight, and she was thinking about it in her mind. The door of the box opened, and the president and vice president of the provincial bank came in accompanied by the vice president of the head office. When the vice president of the head office saw Tan Shahen, he chuckled, walked over, held a glass of wine in his hand, and said to Tan Shahen, Xiao Tan, I heard that you are going to participate in the CCTV Young Singer Grand Prix this year. Yes, November. Tan Shahen quickly picked up the wine glass and said, come on, our head office will organize people to go to the scene to cheer you on. Thank you, President. Try to bring glory to our bank. I will try my best, President. Okay, then I wish you immediate success, the vice president said, finishing the drink in one gulp. Tan Shahen herself is usually in charge of reception work. She knew that in this case, she had to drink it all in one gulp. She quickly raised her glass and drank the wine. The vice president was very happy and kept nodding. Not bad, Xiao Tan good. The governor of the provincial bank on the side also raised his glass. Shen Linlin quickly filled up Tan Shahen's wine glass. The governor said, come and win glory for our provincial bank. Thank you, President. Tan Shahen clinked glasses with the president and drank the wine. The president of the provincial bank accompanied the vice president of the head office out. The vice president of the provincial bank was still here. He raised his glass and said, Come on, let me add some wine too. Shen Linlin immediately filled Tan Shahan's wine glass again. Tan Shahan felt that she was already a little drunk, but now this was a cup of poison, and she had to drink it. Tan Shahan frowned slightly and drank her wine. There was a round of applause in the box. President Mao asked with concern, "How is it?" Tan Shahan shook her head and said, "It's okay." The door of the box was reopened, and what came in were the leaders of brother tours from other regions in the province. They told the president of Hangzhou that although the champions were not us, they were kept by our province and were not taken away by people from other provinces. We must come to congratulate you. The president of the city bank said, "Okay, Xiao Tan, give them a drink in return." Tan Shahan felt that the wine was no longer wine. It was as light as water, so it was not that hard to drink. "Wine, water, just drink," someone said on the side, and Tan Shahan felt that it was true. President Mao and Shen Linlin helped Tan Shahan go downstairs. Tan Shahan wanted to break away from them, but she felt weak and couldn't get away. When she went downstairs, she was still a little awake. When she got downstairs, she stood at the door and a cold breeze blew. People are completely confused. The old man quickly opened the car door. President Mao asked Shen Linlin to hold Tan Shahan. He got in the car first, then took Tan Shahan over, half-hugged her on the seat, and sat next to her. Tan Shahan tilted her head and leaned against her. He fell asleep on his shoulder. "Have you got everything?" President Mao asked. Take it," said Shen Linlin, who was sitting in the passenger seat. "Okay, old man, let's go back to the hotel," President Mao said. The Nissan van stopped at the gate of the international building. President Mao and the old man got Tan Shahan out of the car. President Mao put his arms around Tan Shahan's waist. Tan Shahan's whole body was hanging on President Mao. The old man wanted to help get Tan Shahan together. "When I went upstairs, a security guard came over and said, 'Sorry, sir, you can't park here.' President Mao said to the old man, 'You go, as long as Xiao Shen and I are here.' The old man said okay, got in the car and drove away. President Mao was holding Tan Shahan, Shen Linlin was carrying her own bag on her shoulder, Tan Shahan's bag, and Executive Mao's bag in her hand. They entered the elevator, which went up and stopped at the 11th floor. The three of them walked out of the elevator and walked towards Shen Linlin and Tan Shahan's room. President Mao said to open the door quickly. Shen Linlin held the key card in her hand, turned the back of her hand, hid the key card, and said, "The key card is at Jensen's place." "Stupid, hurry up and look for it in her bag," President Mao said, reaching out with one hand and feeling in Tan Shahan's pocket, but he couldn't find the key. "No," Shen Linlin said. "Let's do the math. Go to my room first. My key tag is in my bag." "Please take it," President Mao said. Shen Linlin found the key tag from President Mao's bag, walked to President Mao's room diagonally opposite, and opened the door. President Mao and Shen Linlin carried the drunk Tan Shahan into the room and laid her down. Only then did President Mao let out a long sigh. President Mao and Shen Linlin looked at each other and laughed. Shen Linlin said that Zhen drank so much today. President Mao smiled and said, "I'm happy that I won the championship. Now I'm famous in the head office. If you win the championship, you will also get drunk." Shen Linlin's face darkened, but President Mao didn't notice. Shen Linlin and President Mao said, "President Mao, I want to go to my aunt's house." For some reason, President Mao felt a sudden lightness in his heart. He said, "Yes, you go. I may not come back to sleep." Manager Mao looked at Tan Shahan lying there and said, "It's okay. I'll wait for Zhen to wake up and ask her for the key. Let her sleep here. I'll go to your room to sleep." Shen Linlin said yes. She put down Tan Shahan and President Mao's bags, and said to President Mao, "President, am I leaving now?" President Mao waved his hand. Shen Linlin walked out, leaving the door open deliberately. Shen Linlin walked to the elevator hall on the side and did not go down. Instead, she stretched out her head and looked towards the room over there. After a few minutes, President Mao stretched out his head to look into the corridor, then retracted his head and closed the door. Shen Linlin quickly stepped on the carpet in the corridor and ran lightly. She heard the sound of the door being locked, and Shen Linlin couldn't help but laugh. Shen Linlin went downstairs. The phone at the reception desk could make outside calls, but she didn't dare to go there because she was afraid of being overheard. She walked outside the gate. She remembered that there was a card phone booth at the entrance of the International Building and on the sidewalk beside the stadium. She looked over there, and sure enough, there was one. Shen Linlin walked over and took out the magnetic card from her bag. She wanted to call Wang Linghua. She knew that Wang Linghua would definitely find a car to drive to Hangzhou immediately after receiving the call. Haha, then there would be a good show. Shen Linlin dialed 2 numbers and hesitated. If that was the case, then everyone, including President Mao, must know that it was her who made the call. Wang Linghua had such a mouthful that she couldn't say anything. She wouldn't care about it. Will Shen Linlin be exposed? Shen Linlin hesitated. A 110 patrol car passed by Shen Linlin. Shen Linlin watched it go away and had an idea. Thank you Tianying 1978 and Sun Boshan for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 787. In the interrogation room, the man's face was pale, he was trembling constantly, and his whole body collapsed. He spoke honestly no matter what was asked. In another room, the woman sat there and kept vomiting into a red plastic bucket that the police placed next to her. She kept saying she felt uncomfortable, shaking her head and asking what was going on. She couldn't hear clearly and couldn't say what she wanted to say. However, the police quickly found out from the man's mouth that these 2 people were not prostitutes. The police knew their identities. The man was the president of Yongcheng Industrial Bank, surnamed Mao, and the woman, surnamed Tan, was said to be assistant to the president, vice chairman of the trade union. The police immediately called and informed the ICBC personnel on duty about the situation. They came over immediately and confirmed the identities of the 2 people. The police also promptly reported the situation to the night duty staff at the Yongcheng County Government Office. At about the same time, Old Man received a call from the duty room of ICBC and Shen Linlin. He was shocked. He drove to pick up Shen Linlin and went to the police station. The president of ICBC also arrived, with a livid face and words in his mouth. There was still the smell of alcohol from the celebration party that night. He signed and completed the formalities and took the person out of the police station. It was confirmed that he was not a prostitute. The next step was the work of the unit. The president asked Lao Lao and Shen Linlin to send them back to Yongcheng and be careful on the way to avoid getting into trouble. The old man said yes to Shen Linlin. The police and the president said that we have already contacted the Yongcheng Discipline Inspection Commission and the Public Security Bureau, and will contact them and relevant personnel tomorrow to further verify the situation. We have also sent a fax to Yongcheng about what we learned here at the hotel. At that time, the hotel did not have surveillance. After questioning for a long time, the police only asked one security guard, who told them that they were indeed together. They were brought back in a van, 2 women and 1 man. One woman drank too much, and the others no one knows the situation, but it can be confirmed that they are not prostitutes. The president said okay, I will send them back in the evening and leave it to Yongcheng. At that time, the bank still had dual leadership, and President Mao's organizational and personnel relations were still in Yongcheng County. Almost as soon as they were driving and leaving Hangzhou, the news woke up many Yongcheng people from their sleep. I don't know where the news came from. Everyone who heard it couldn't believe it. There was such a thing. President Mao of the County Industrial Bank and Tan Shahen were sleeping in a Hangzhou hotel and were caught by the police. This news is so shocking. You must know that President Mao and Tan Shahen are both well-known figures in Yongcheng. It is impossible not to wake people up from their sleep with such shocking news. When the car arrived at the gate of Yongcheng ICBC, it was already past 3 o'clock in the morning. There were many people standing at the gate of Yongcheng ICBC. Both the old man and Shen Linlin were startled. What was going on? Shen Linlin also saw Huang Linghua in the crowd, and she felt happy. As soon as the car stopped, Huang Linghua rushed over, opened the door, dragged President Mao out of the passenger seat, and beat him violently. President Mao held his head in his hands and said nothing, standing on the curb. After sitting down, Huang Linghua kicked her hard twice. Huang Linghua woke up after a while, then went over to open the car door and grabbed Tan Shahen's hair, who was lying limply in the car. Shen Linlin, who was sitting next to Tan Shahen, shouted to Director Huang not to do anything. She seemed to be trying to persuade her, but in fact she was pushing Tan Shahen towards Huang Linghua. Tan Shahen had woken up a little and roughly knew what was going on. She was crying miserably and shouting, "Sister, sister, I didn't. Nothing. You bitch, you still have the nerve to call me sister. See if I don't beat you to death." Huang Linghua grabbed Tan Shahen's hair and dragged her out of the car. Tan Shahen held onto the seat with both hands and refused to get out of the car. Huang Linghua grabbed a lot of hair, and her scalp was almost pulled off. Waves of heart-wrenching pain made her scream, but she was completely dazed. Xiao Wu and Xiao Jin arrived here on bicycles. Seeing this, Xiao Wu quickly threw away his bicycle, ran over, and hugged Huang Linghua from behind. Xiao Wu shouted, "Sister, it's ugly and ugly. If you have anything to say, please tell me." "Xiao Wu, don't worry about this," Huang Linghua shouted, temporarily letting go of Tan Shahen with both hands, and went to break Xiao Wu's hand. Xiao Wu said okay, but picked up Huang Linghua from behind and carried her aside. He glanced at Feng Logui standing there stupidly and cursed. "Lao Gui, why the hell are you still standing?" Feng Logui cursed coldly, "It's none of my business." Feng Logui walked away, and Xiao Wu kicked her over. He was too far away and missed, so Xiao Wu shouted to Xiao Jin to send Sister Shahen home quickly. Xiao Jin said yes. He pulled Tan Shahen out of the car, put her on his shoulders, and left. After walking far away to see if no one was catching up, he called out, "Sister Shahen, are you okay?" Tan Shahen cried, Xiao Jin, believe it or not, sister doesn't." I believe it, Sister Shahen, I can't tell you now, where are you going?" Tan Shahen could only cry and cry. When Xiao Jin saw Feng Logui's cocky look in front of him, he knew it would be bad to go back. After thinking about it, he carried Tan Shahen to her parents' house. Here, Xiao Wu finally let go of Huang Linghua. Xiao Wu cursed at the onlookers around him, "Get out of here, get the hell out of here." Huang Linghua turned around and couldn't find Tan Shahen. She turned around and hit President Mao head-on again. Xiao Wu hurriedly ran over, hugged her away, and carried her to the front of the car. The old man quickly opened the car door. Xiao Wu stuffed Huang Linghua into the car. He turned around and took Mr. Mao, who was sitting on the curb, with him. "Pull it up and stuff it into the passenger seat of the van." Huang Linghua saw President Mao sitting in, rushed to the front from the carriage, and started beating again. President Mao held his head in his hands. Xiao Wu got in from the door and hugged Huang Linghua. In the darkness, he tripped and fell in the passage of the van. The hand holding Huang Linghua still didn't let go, and Huang Linghua sat on him. Xiao Wu shouted, drive home." The old man quickly said okay and started the car. Shen Linlin stood there, watching the car drive away, and couldn't help but laugh loudly. When the car arrived at the downstairs of President Mao's house, Xiao Wu asked the old man to take President Mao upstairs first. He and Huang Linghua were still sitting there. Huang Linghua also started crying. She said, "Xiao Wu, are you unwilling to help me?" "Sister, I always help you. Why are you holding me back and not letting me beat that bitch to death?" "Sister, I don't know anything yet, but it makes such a big fuss, doesn't it look good?" "What else is there, Xiao Wu?" "Two people were caught by the police in a room without any clothes on. What good things do you think will happen? I know that Vixen will not do anything good when he gets to ICBC. Sister, no matter what, please figure things out first, okay? If they really did something, I will definitely be on your side." "Sister, do you believe me?" "Don't believe it, Xiao Wu, you are in the same group with that bitch, you are just working together to bully me, huh? Huang Linghua, am easy to mess with? I will definitely make it impossible for that bitch to stay at ICBC, no, I will make it impossible for her to stay in Yongcheng. I will do what I say." Xiao Wu laughed and cursed, "Sister, are you confused? I am Xiao Wu. If you say that I collaborated with others to bully you, I will be really angry." Huang Linghua hugged Xiao Wu and cried, "Xiao Wu, I just can't help it. Tell me, what can I do? The Vixens have come to the door. My family is gone." Xiao Wu comforted her and said, "Sister, it's not that serious." A bicycle rushed over and stopped at the door. The people on the bicycle got off, looked at them and cursed, "Why are you crying? Go home." Huang Linghua raised her head and saw her father standing outside the car. Huang Linghua cried aggrievedly again. "Don't cry. Xiao Wu, get her out of the car and go home. If you want to cry, that bastard will cry." Deputy County Magistrate Huang shouted sternly. At this time, he was not the executive deputy magistrate of Yongcheng County, but an angry father. Huang Linghua seemed to have a backbone after hearing what her father said. She followed Xiao Wu out of the car, and the three of them walked upstairs. The door of the house was open, and President Mao and Lao Lao were sitting in the living room. When President Mao saw Deputy County Magistrate Huang coming in, he quickly stood up from the sofa, walked over and shouted, "Dad!" Deputy County Magistrate Huang waved his hand and slapped him in the face, scolding, "When you got married, I told you that if you dare to bully my daughter, I will make your life worse than death. Have you forgotten?" Manager Mao was stunned for a moment, then slapped himself in the face with both hands and shouted, I was wrong, I am not a human being." This slap from her father seemed to relieve most of Huang Linghua's anger. Huang Linghua snorted, walked into the bedroom, and slammed the door with a bang. Deputy County Magistrate Huang pointed his finger at President Mao and cursed, "You can do it yourself." He turned around and walked out, waved to Xiao Wu, and Xiao Wu followed him out. Deputy County Magistrate Huang patted Xiao Wu on the shoulder and said to him, "Stay here for a while longer for my uncle. Don't kill anyone." Xiao Wu said, "Okay, I'm here, uncle, don't worry." Deputy County Magistrate Huang sighed and walked downstairs. Xiao Wu stood in the corridor, the door was open, and there was no movement inside. Xiao Wu stood there for a while, thinking to himself, what the hell is this? He was about to walk back to the door when he heard someone coming up on the stairs. He thought it was Deputy County Magistrate Huang who was back, so he stood and waited. It turned out that the person who came up was Lao Ren from the Justice Bureau, who was a high school classmate of President Mao. Seeing Xiao Wu, Lao Ren asked, "Lao Mao is back?" Xiao Wu nodded, and the two of them walked into the living room. President Mao stood up when he saw Lao Ren. Lao Ren walked over and put his arm around President Mao's shoulders. The two of them walked into the study and closed the door. Xiao Wu closed the door, walked over, and sat down on the sofa. He asked the old man, what was going on. The old man said, I don't know either. I sent them to the entrance of the international building and then went back. Wasn't there some singing competition today? Xiao Tan won the first place. He was probably very happy because he drank too much. Shen Linlin got up very early, washing and singing at the same time. Her mother was surprised, didn't you not go to work today? Why did you get up so early when you came back so late last night? Work overtime, Shen Linlin said. Are you so happy working overtime? Yes, you get overtime pay for overtime work, why would you be unhappy? Shen Linlin walked away with a smile, went back to her room, sat down, looked in the mirror, and put on makeup in a happy mood. She really didn't have to go to work today. According to the original plan, they should still be in Hangzhou now and return to Yongcheng in the evening. Isn't this because the plan cannot keep up with the changes? Shen Linlin smiled in the mirror. She could imagine that when she appeared in the business hall, those people would definitely come around and ask questions. Shen Linlin imagined herself saying incomprehensibly, I don't know either, it is not convenient to say how anxious those people will be. Shen Linlin is happy just thinking about it. How could she stay at home and miss this good show? Her mother called her to have breakfast. Shen Linlin walked out and just sat down when the phone rang at home. Her mother muttered, who could it be so early? He walked over to pick it up and called, Linlin, it's for you. Looking for me, Shen Linlin was surprised. She had the same idea as her mother, who could it be so early? Shen Linlin walked over and picked up the phone. A deep voice came from the phone, Xiao Shen, come down here for a moment. I have something to tell you. Shen Linlin was stunned for a moment before she remembered that the person on the phone was President Mao. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 788. Shen Linlin walked downstairs and almost laughed when she saw President Mao. Early in the morning, he was wearing a pair of sunglasses and a mask. He stood there and looked around alertly. People walking by him also felt that this person is so strange, they all look at him without exception. President Mao, are you afraid that others will recognize you, or are you afraid that others will not recognize you? Shen Linlin asked. As soon as the words came out, Shen Linlin was shocked. When did she talk to President Mao so casually? In the past, when Shen Linlin saw President Mao, she would have the same natural reaction as all subordinates when seeing their leader. They would be nervous subconsciously. But today, she no longer felt nervous at all, but instead felt a bit condescending. It's no wonder that after Shen Linlin saw this man's ugliness and embarrassment last night, if she wanted to still be in awe of him, it would at least take time. President Mao didn't care what Shen Linlin said at all. He pulled Shen Linlin with his hand, turned around and walked into the passage. Shen Linlin followed and turned left at the end. It was a dead end. Generally, few people would come here. It seems that as soon as he arrived here, he explored the surrounding terrain. The two of them stopped, and Shen Linlin asked, President Mao, what do you want from me? Manager Mao took off his mask in order to speak more easily. Shen Linlin almost laughed again when she saw it. She saw that Manager Mao's face was swollen and there were scratches and blood oozing out. It was obviously yellow. Ling Hua's masterpiece. No wonder he wears a mask. Shen Linlin suppressed her laughter and looked at President Mao. President Mao looked uneasy. He asked anxiously, today, someone may come to you to learn about the situation. What would you say? Shen Linlin asked knowingly, what do you know? Hi, what happened last night, how did we get back to the hotel, how did we get into the room, etc. Oh, so that's what happened. Who is so bored as to ask these questions? Director Huang. No, just, maybe it's the Discipline Inspection Commission or the police. Tell it like it is, just do it as it is. Anyway, I didn't see anything I shouldn't have seen. Didn't I just leave? Yes, you just left, what would you say? We got off the old man's car and took the elevator upstairs. I couldn't find the key to our room, so you just told me to send Tan Shahan to your room first. Send her to your room, and I'll leave. That's it? Manager Mao's face turned pale. He panicked for a moment. When he spoke again, he stuttered. Xiao Shen, Lin, can you not say this, that is, don't say that we sent Tan Shahan to my room. If you don't say so, then how can you say it? Shen Linlin asked curiously. Just say, when we got upstairs, we sent Tan Shahan to your room and put her on the bed. Then I left. After a while, you also went to your aunt's house. Shen Linlin looked at President Mao and asked, why? No reason, just say so. But that's not the case. If I say this, isn't that deceiving the organization? Linlin, I beg you, just think of it as helping me. Seriously, I will definitely repay you. Oh, Mr. Mao, I don't dare to do that. Really, Linlin, I know you have always wanted to work in the union. I promise you, after this matter is over, I will definitely transfer you from the counter to the union. Isn't there Tan Shahan in the union? Oh, do you think she can still stay in the industry? That's true. Shen Linlin smiled, even if you cherish her, Director Huang will not let her go, right? President Mao nodded desperately and said, yes, as long as you understand, as long as you say so, her position will be yours, I promise. Shen Linlin said suspiciously, President Mao, what you are saying now is still effective. It works, President Mao said, as long as we don't divorce, this matter will be over soon. You also know that your director Huang, for the sake of my son, will not divorce me. She still wants to keep her life this home. Shen Linlin pondered for a while and asked, are you true to your word? Keep your word, I promise to keep it. Shen Linlin said, okay, should I just tell them that the three of us go upstairs and help Tan Shahan to our room, and then you go back to your room? After a while, I left too. I don't know anything else. Is this enough? That's right, you just need to say that, there is no need to say anything else. Okay, then I promise you. Shen Linlin promised President Mao not only because of President Mao's promise to transfer her to the labor union. To be honest, she was still doubtful about whether President Mao could pass this test. She promised President Mao, and more importantly, because of President Mao's words, Tan Shahan couldn't stay in the bank any longer. For this reason, Shen Linlin felt that it was worth telling a lie. Thank you, Linlin. Don't worry, I will definitely do what I promised you. Okay, is there anything else? It's okay. I'm going home. I've only eaten half of breakfast. No, that's it? Shen Linlin waved her hand and left. President Mao stood there, watching her figure turn the corner and disappear, and then he breathed a long sigh of relief. He put the mask back on, lowered his head and walked out. In the early morning, Lao Ren heard the news and rushed to President Mao's house. He pulled President Mao into the study and asked President Mao to tell him the whole story. Lao Ren is President Mao's best friend. President Mao is very anxious at this time, not knowing what will be waiting for him tomorrow. When he sees Lao Ren, it's like he has grasped a life-saving straw, and he dares to hide it. After listening to what President Mao said, Lao Ren asked, whose room were you in when the police came? Mine. Fortunately, Lao Mao, you are so lucky, Lao Ren shouted. What's wrong? President Mao asked strangely. Lao Ren pointed at him with his finger and cursed, you are so damn obsessed, I shouldn't care about you. Do you know this is rape? Do you think it is a demerit for demotion or expulsion? You will be jailed. President Mao was shocked. Why was I raped? The police came in before I even had time to go in. That is also an attempted rape, and you will go to jail. As long as Tan Shahan insists that she didn't know about it and she doesn't want to, you will definitely go to jail. So serious, Mr. Mao's face turned pale with fright. Is it true, Lao Ren? Don't scare me. You are really illiterate about the law. This is not rape, so what is rape? Let me ask you, will Tan Shahan say that she likes you and had sex with you voluntarily? President Mao thought about Tan Shahan and their conversation by the West Lake that day. President Mao said dejectedly, probably not. To be precise, yes or no? Won't. Then you're dead. The evidence is conclusive. The police in Hangzhou can prove that you were naked when they came in. You can't rely on it even if you want. No, no, Lao Ren, you must save me. President Mao became anxious. Old Ren, you must have a way. Lao Ren sighed and said, fortunately, you are lucky, the incident happened in your room. Well, does it matter which room it is in? President Mao was puzzled. It's not that there is any difference, it's that the difference is big. If you were in their room, you wouldn't be able to tell clearly and no one can help you. Now in your room, Tan Shahan can't tell clearly. Do you understand? President Mao shook his head. I don't understand. Lao Ren glared at him. With this IQ, I don't know how you became the president. If you go to her room, you are undoubtedly raping. In your room, you can say that she came to you, and you are committing adultery. It's a matter of style. Do you understand now? President Mao seemed to understand a little bit, and Lao Ren said, of course, if you want to be fine, you must also ask what you said before. What is the name of the girl in your industry? Shen Linlin. You still want Shen Linlin to help you? If she says that she is going to your room, you will be screwed. If she says that you are sending Tan Shahan back to their room, she will leave. You insist that it was Tan Shahan who was behind her when she left. Then, I came to your room to find you. In this way, Tan Shahan is required to prove that she did not come to find you. How can she prove it? The police found you in your room. Manager Mao nodded desperately, finally understanding. Also, if you didn't have time to go in, don't say anything. If you really want to say it, just say that you didn't have time to go in this time, but you guys did it often before. I'm looking for death? Will Huang Linghua let me go? President Mao shouted. Do you think Huang Linghua will believe you when you say you didn't go in? She can let you go, Lao Ren asked. Do you want to go to jail, or are you afraid that Huang Linghua won't let you go? Why are you going to jail again? Didn't you just say that you would be fine in my room? That's just one of the conditions. Last night, there were a lot of people who could prove that Tan Shahan was drunk. Drunk people have no sense of self-control. If it was your first time last night, even if she came to your room, you hummed or wanting to hum a woman who has no sense of self-control is also rape, do you understand? But if you have done it often before, it is not, it is still a matter of style, do you understand? President Mao finally understood that no matter how scary Huang Linghua was, it was not as scary as going to jail. Besides, it was not a shame to have sex with Tan Shahan often. Maybe many people would envy her. It would be shameful if others knew that he wanted to rape Tan Shahan while she was drunk. Being embarrassed and having to go to jail, President Mao felt it was not worth it. At around 9 o'clock in the morning, people from the County Commission for Discipline Inspection and the Public Security Bureau came to find out about the situation. The Commission for Discipline Inspection first announced to President Mao the county committee's decision to suspend him for investigation, and then asked him to honestly explain to the organization. Question. How many times have you had sex? The Discipline Inspection Commission asked. President Mao thought for a moment and said, I can't remember clearly. Anyway, when we were on business trips alone, we would have sex whenever we had the chance, sometimes several times a night. When was the first time? It must have been our third or fourth business trip. At the Kunming Hotel, she said she wasn't feeling well, so I bought her medicine and sent it to her room. Then, President Mao, can you tell us what happened last night? The police asked. Last night, didn't she win first place last night? She was very happy. She drank a lot of wine. Shen Linlin and I took her back to the hotel and sent her to their room. They were two lesbians living in the same room. When I arrived, I came out and went back to my room. After a while, she knocked on the door. She seemed to be a little sober from the wine. We were in the room and were getting ready when the police came in. At around 10 o'clock, after the two people found President Mao, they went to Shen Linlin and asked her to recall what happened last night. Shen Linlin said, I don't know anything. I was not in the hotel last night. I saw Tan Shahen lying in the room. Nothing happened, so I went out. Later, when I came back, they were all taken away by the police. You said Tan Shahen was lying in the room. Which room? The police asked. Our room. Which room else can we have? Normally, when you go on business trips together, what do you think of the relationship between your president and Tan Shahen? The Discipline Inspection Commission asked. This should be pretty good, that person of hers, Shen Linlin sneered. Oh, how do you know they have a good relationship? The Discipline Inspection Commission continued to ask. Just last night, when we were drinking, I was sitting next to Tan Shahen, and President Mao was sitting over there. I saw President Mao holding her waist like this. We don't have a good relationship. Can we do this? Shen Linlin looked at them, making gestures and asking. The two men looked at each other. Thank you to book friend 201904191344473988, half drunk and half awake, third from top to bottom, Dal Tin Soldier, and reading the book every day for the reward. Thank you Yuengzi for your monthly pass. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all a happy life. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 789. Tan Shahen tried hard to think back, but no matter what she thought, she could only think of President Mao helping her downstairs, and the old man seemed to have walked over. The next thing she could remember when she regained consciousness was that she saw many police officers standing in front of her. She was startled, and when she saw that the clothes on her body were gone, she seemed to scream. As for how she returned to the International Building and how she ended up in President Mao's room, Tan Shahen couldn't remember. The two comrades opposite asked her, "Is it possible that you went there yourself?" Tan Shahen shook her head. How could it be possible? Why should I go to his room? Was he the one who came to take you there? Tan Shahen still shook her head. She really couldn't remember it at all. A comrade coughed and asked, "Have you had sex before?" "What relationship?" "No, how could I have anything to do with him?" Xiao Tan, did you two often go on business trips together in the past?" asked another comrade. Tan Shahen nodded, and then quickly shook her head. "It was not two, but three, including the elderly. He drove us." "What about when you get to Hangzhou? Where is old age? Has he gone home?" Tan Shahen felt a splitting headache. She didn't know whether it was because she was still drunk last night or because she was beaten by Huang Linghua. The two comrades were very annoyed and asked such boring questions. From last night to now, Tan Shahen has been in a fog. She doesn't know how time has passed little by little, let alone whether all this is true. "Xiao Tan, you really can't remember anything about last night, The comrade asked again. You go ask Shen Linlin, she is with me. We've already asked her. Then what she said is what she said. She didn't drink too much, right? Tan Shahan said impatiently. The two nodded, and one of them continued the previous topic. Xiao Tan, you were on a business trip before. After you left in old age, were you just the two of you together? Tan Shahan nodded honestly, thinking that there were 3 people in total, and one was gone, so there were not 2 left. You often eat together and have late-night snacks together. You like seafood very much. You often go to Omi seafood stalls, right? Tan Shahan nodded, these are all correct. Also, one time, when you were sick at the Kuning Hotel, President Mao went to buy medicine and delivered it to your room, right? Tan Shahan said yes, it happened once. The 2 comrades looked at each other and closed their notebooks. They felt that the matter was really simple and clear. It was just that. A boss and a subordinate often used their business trip time to get along. The 2 thought they were out of town and no one saw them. He was too bold, and was discovered by the masses, who mistakenly thought it was a report of prostitution, and was caught red-handed. As for Tan Shahan not admitting that there is a relationship between them, haha, when they investigated similar matters in the past, few admitted that they were related, especially lesbians. Tan Shahan, you bitch. Get off here. If you have the guts to seduce other people's husbands, just do it. Don't be a coward or a shy bitch. Huang Linghua's scolding came from downstairs. As soon as Tan Shahan heard her voice, she started to tremble and felt humiliated, and tears rolled down her eyes. Tan Shahan, you bitch. Don't you think you have a golden pussy? Don't you think that all the men want it because of the fragrance you have? Come down here and show your golden pussy to everyone. Let's see if I can handle it. Your turn, bitch. Tan, get out of here. Huang Linghua kept scolding below, and the scolding was very unpleasant. She remembered all the curse words she had heard in the village since she was a child, and cursed rural women. Having seen this kind of battle, they all watched from a distance, and no one dared to come over to persuade them. Everyone also knows who Huang Linghua is. She is not easy to offend and cannot be offended. Mrs. Tan came over and said to the 2 comrades, listen, what she is saying are all dirty words. Is this still human language? Can't you take care of it? The 2 comrades said with some embarrassment that it was really difficult for us to manage this, so we could only wait until the next step to persuade her. This would not have a good impact. What are you talking about? Lao Tan rushed over and asked them, aren't you here to investigate the matter? Who do you care about this kind of thing? One comrade was also a little annoyed. He said, we really can't control her. Old comrade, please tell me, how can we control her? Besides, she is also a victim. Tan Shahan raised her head and looked at them with tearful eyes, she is a victim? What about me, am I not a victim? The 2 comrades stood up and felt that today's work could end here, so they said goodbye and left. When they got downstairs, Huang Linghua knew what they were doing as soon as she saw them coming down the corridor, so she ran over and asked. Have you come out of that bitch's house? Is that bitch at home? Okay, let's see if I don't go up and deal with her. Huang Linghua said that she was about to rush upstairs. If she rushed upstairs, something would happen. The 2 of them had the responsibility to take care of her at this time. They quickly grabbed her and persuaded her while walking outside. What a sin, what is this? Mrs. Tan cried. What happened? Your daughter did something good, Lao Tan said angrily. What a good thing, what have I done? Tan Shahan yelled at Lao Tan. I don't know what good things you did. Why are you yelling at me? If you have the ability, go down and yell at that shrew. Lao Tan cursed, and Tan Shahan suddenly lost her courage. She was asked to face Wang Linghua's claws and teeth alone. Tan Shahen was really a little scared. Tan Shahen hid at home for 3 days. During these 3 days, Huang Linghua would go downstairs to curse from time to time. Tan Shahen finally couldn't bear it anymore. She felt that there was nothing to be afraid of. At the worst, she would trade one life for another. She took it from the kitchen. She grabbed a kitchen knife and wanted to rush down, but was stopped by Mrs. Tan. She thought of scolding Huang Linghua in front of the window, but was held back by Mrs. Tan again. Lao Tan scolded, "Do you think it's nice to talk too loudly? You don't think it's embarrassing, but we still think it's embarrassing. We still have to live here with such shameless faces, so why don't you show your dignity?" As old Tan scolded her like this, Tan Shahen suddenly lost her temper. This was her parents' home after all. Tan Shahen could only cry. She didn't know what else she could do except cry. On the 4th day, Feng Logui came with his daughter. Feng Logui also brought a bank book and their marriage certificate. Feng Logui said, "Zhen Zhen, after thinking about it for a few days, I think we should divorce. Well, I really can't stand this kind of life. This is the money you earned, and it's useless. I kept it all for you, and now I'll give it back to you." As Feng Logui said this, he handed the bank book to Tan Shahen. Tan Shahen looked at him and sneered, "Lao Gui, I didn't expect that one day you would propose to divorce me." After hearing this, Feng Logui also raised his head, looked at Tan Shahen and said coldly, "Yes, I asked for it. I shouldn't have climbed up in the first place. Speaking of which, there is nothing else to say." The two went to the Civil Affairs Bureau and got divorced. Their daughter belonged to Tan Shahen. The house was originally allocated to them by the Cultural Affairs Bureau for their wedding. Tan Shahen wanted to continue living there, so she only lived in one room. "I don't want to," Feng Logui lives alone, and the staff of the Civil Affairs Bureau don't even bother to ask. They had also heard about Tan Shahen a long time ago. Thinking about it with their toes, they wouldn't be surprised to see her here. They all sympathized with Feng Logui. After the divorce, Tan Shahen took her daughter and lived in her parents' house. She didn't even dare to leave the house every day. She didn't go to work, and no one from the bank called her. Just like when she left the troupe, everyone thought she was gone. Without this person, Tan Shahen herself didn't know what she was doing. Is it voluntary resignation, dismissal, vacation, or normal work? She didn't go to the troupe at that time, and Mrs. Lee would send her salary every month to let her know that she was still a member of the troupe, but what does it mean now? It's not easy for Tan Shahen to call and ask. Even if she wants to ask, she doesn't know who to ask. It turns out that in the bank, the people she has the best connections with are President Mao and Huang Linghua. Can she ask them? Tan Shahen tried calling Shen Linlin to ask. Shen Linlin answered the phone and asked her in turn, "Zhen Zhen, when did you come to work? Why haven't I seen you in the past few days?" Tan Shahen could hear a hint of schadenfreude in her words. Tan Shahen quickly hung up the phone. She didn't go to work or practice with teacher Shi. Her voice was hoarse from crying every day. What else could she practice? Tan Shahen just didn't dare to raise her voice. She was afraid that as soon as she opened her mouth, Huang Linghua would appear from below. Huang Linghua would still come downstairs to yell and scold her. The timing of her scolding sessions was completely irregular. Sometimes she would come early in the morning before everyone got up. Sometimes she would come downstairs while going to work and she would run away when she felt out of breath. Come over and scold me for a while, then go back to work. Sometimes after taking a shower at night and getting ready to go to bed, I would get angry when I saw Mr. Mao sleeping in the living room. He would walk over and kick him twice, then go downstairs and scold Tan Shahen again downstairs. Xiao Wu came twice and persuaded Huang Linghua to leave. When Tan Shahen heard Xiao Wu's voice upstairs, she shed tears. She felt that her wandering heart seemed to have a bottom and she could finally raise her head. Take a breath. But it was impossible for Xiao Wu to guard down there every day, or to follow Huang Linghua every day. Huang Linghua was so elusive, who could have predicted it? The residents in the courtyard of the cultural system dormitory were curious at first, and thought that Huang Linghua's cursing skills were really profound and profound. Later, I became very annoyed and knew that this was not someone to be trifled with. In front of her, I didn't even dare to say a word. I could only ask sadly when she met Lao Tan and Mrs. Tan. Go back. It means, when can we return our innocence? Many people still have children at home. What kind of education do they receive every day? They didn't know that Tan Shahen had divorced Feng Logui and that she could no longer return to the U opera troupe. As a result, Lao Tan and Mrs. Tan now don't even dare to go for a walk except when they have no choice but to go out. Huang Linghua couldn't get enough of the scolding below, and would run upstairs and bang on the door. Tan Shahen wanted to rush out, but Mrs. Tan blocked her in her room. Tan Shahen could only scream, but Huang Linghua listened. When she heard Tan Shahen's voice, she scolded her even more vigorously. How could Tan Shahen scold others? Tan Shahen was quickly defeated, threw down her armor, and broke down the door again. The three adults in the family did not dare to say anything, as long as their daughter was crying. Tan Shahen didn't even dare to leave her house. She was a famous person in Yongcheng. She could imagine that as long as she went out, there would be so many people pointing fingers behind her. It really fulfilled the saying, crawl when you are proud. No matter how high you are, how miserable you will be when you fall. Tan Shahen felt that she had now become a scumbag from the former Miss Yongcheng. She could no longer stay in Yongcheng, and she was looking forward to the early arrival of November so that she could go to Beijing earlier. Before the competition in Beijing, there will be a week of intensive training. As long as you give yourself this week of clear time, you will definitely leave everything behind and go all out to adjust your condition and strive for good results. At that time, my influence will spread across the country, and many units will definitely want me, so I will not return to Yongcheng. The CCTV Young Singer Grand Prix in November has now become Tan Shahen's only hope in life. Thank you to all those half-drunk and half-awakened members of the party. Thank you UN11, Hua and Boy, and Yuju for your monthly votes. Thank you for all the votes and reading. Suddenly 3 chapters disappeared, so I had to change them, I'm sorry. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 790. The phone rang at home, and Tan Shahen walked over and picked it up, listening quietly. After listening, she said thank you and stood there for a while. Any movement at home would make people feel frightened. When Mrs. Tan heard the phone ringing outside, she walked out and stood aside to watch Tan Shahen answer the phone and asked, Zhen Zhen, whose phone number is it? No one, colleague, Tan Shahen said calmly, and Mrs. Tan breathed a sigh of relief. It was already 10 o'clock in the morning. Tan Shahen remembered that she hadn't even washed her face, so she went to the bathroom to wash her face, went back to her room, put on makeup, packed her bag and put it on her shoulder, then walked to her parents' room. Hold your daughter. What are you going to do? Lao Tan asked in surprise after seeing Tan Shahen dressed up so neatly for the first time in so many days. Tan Shahen smiled and told her parents that she was going out to buy something for her daughter. Mrs. Tan handed the granddaughter in her hand to Tan Shahen. Old Tan wanted to say something more, but Mrs. Tan leaned over and said to him, I just got a call from my work unit. Lao Tan looked at Mrs. Tan's smiling face and couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. She was able to go back to the unit. It seemed that this matter was finally over. Mrs. Tan sent Tan Shahen to the door and told her, Zhen Zhen, you'll be back when you're done. Tan Shahen nodded. Tan Shahen carried her daughter downstairs and walked outside to the yard. Many people were standing and chatting. They were stunned when they saw her. They felt a little embarrassed. They didn't know whether to say hello to her or not. Tan Shahen smiled at them and walked over. Tan Shahen was walking on the road. Many people stopped and looked at her, and many people pointed behind her. Tan Shahen walked forward with a smile on her face. Someone she knew greeted her and called her Jensensensen. Tan Shahen didn't see who the other person was and just nodded towards the place where the voice came from. Tan Shahen held her chest high, her head held high, and walked forward without squinting. Several people were already following her. Tan Shahen held her daughter in her arms until she walked to the Cultural Plaza. She walked into the ICBC Cultural Plaza branch next to the square. When the people at the counter saw Tan Shahen, they all stopped what they were doing and stood up. Huang Linghua stood at the counter. Inside, she saw Tan Shahen coming in with her daughter in her arms, and she was stunned for a moment. Across the counter, Tan Shahen looked at Huang Linghua and said to her, "Huang Linghua, come out, I have something to tell you." Huang Linghua hesitated for a moment. This scene had never appeared in her mind. Tan Shahen came to the door. What was going on? She didn't get used to it all of a sudden. Huang Linghua didn't come out, but took a few steps closer to the glass of the counter. Tan Shahen looked at her and said firmly, "Huang Linghua, let me tell you, I don't seduce your man. I want to seduce you in a matter of minutes, but I don't like him. Please remember, Huang Linghua, I, Tan Shahen, don't like your man. You want my life, okay, our mother and daughter will deliver it to your door, you come out and get it." The people at the counter, including Huang Linghua, were all stunned by Tan Shahen's momentum. Huang Linghua still couldn't react. At this time, many people had poured in from outside to watch the excitement. Tan Shahen looked to the side and vaguely saw that the lobby manager standing nearby was familiar. She pushed her daughter into her arms and the other party took it. Tan Shahen turned around and slapped her hands on the glass above the counter and shouted sharply, "Road! Huang Linghua, get out of here. If you don't want my life today, I will kill you." Huang Linghua's face turned pale instantly. She looked at Tan Shahen, whose face was ashen. Huang Linghua felt that as long as she walked out of the security door at this time, Tan Shahen would really fight her. Ever since Huang Linghua was a child, she had never seen anyone so arrogant in front of her. She was suddenly confused. More and more people poured into the hall, and Tan Shahen kept patting her hands on the glass. Someone had informed Xiao Wu a long time ago, and Xiao Wu arrived with Xiao Jin. Xiao Wu walked in and grabbed Tan Shahen. Tan Shahen turned around and saw Xiao Wu and started crying. "Xiao Wu, don't hold me back. Either I will die today or she will die. I will fight with her." Xiao Wu dragged Tan Shahen outside, and Xiao Jin took the crying Tan Shahen's daughter from the lobby manager's hand. The gate outside was already crowded with people. Tan Shahen struggled to go inside. Xiao Wu dragged her to the road. A Jinbei van almost hit them. Xiao Wu slapped the van on the front windshield, startling the driver. Xiao Wu roared and opened the car door. The driver quickly yelled, "Okay," jumped out, opened the door of the van, and Xiao Wu pushed Tan Shahen in. Tan Shahen wanted to get up, so Xiao Wu also got in and sat down next to Tan Shahen. Xiao Jin carried Tan Shahen's daughter to the door of the car, and Xiao Wu called, "Come up too." Xiao Jin hugged Tan Shahen's daughter and got into the car. Xiao Wu told the driver standing outside the car, "Close the door and drive." The driver said okay, quickly closed the door, started the car and asked, "Xiao Wu, where are you going?" "Hangcheng." "No, Xiao Wu, it's so far away, I still have something to do." "What the hell are you talking about?" Xiao Wu cursed, and the driver quickly shut up. The car drove forward, past the gate of the county committee, then left the city and turned onto National Highway 320. Tan Shahen came to her senses and shouted, "Xiao Wu, I don't want to leave." Xiao Wu looked at her and sighed, "Sister Shahen, let's go. You can't stay in Yongcheng any longer." Tan Shahen was stunned, and tears rolled down her eyes. The phone call just now was from Teacher Shi. Teacher Shi told her that her qualification to participate in the CCTV Young Singer Grand Prix had been cancelled. Tan Shahen suddenly felt that all her thoughts were lost, as if she had died. She stood there, listening to Teacher Shi talking on the phone, but she felt that not only Teacher Shi's words, but also the world had changed with her. It's irrelevant. She seemed to be listening to other people talking about other people's things, but she didn't realize that the voice was coming from the phone, and the phone could be hung up. Teacher Shi said, "Zhen Zhen, I'm sorry, the teacher has tried hard, but if something like this happens, there is nothing we can do, and the TV station cannot bear such a big responsibility. Someone reported you and threatened that if the provincial TV station dares to cover you up, they will report it to CCTV. The TV station is also afraid. Zhen Zhen, it has been decided that the fourth place from Taizhu will take your place in the competition. Zhen Zhen, the teacher knows that you cherish this opportunity. Zhen Zhen, the teacher knows that you are wronged, but there is nothing the teacher can do." Teacher Shi started crying as she spoke. Tan Shahen felt like she was about to cry too, so she quickly said, "Thank you," and hung up the phone. After hanging up the phone, Tan Shahen felt that she suddenly became relaxed, everything was over, and her path in this world seemed to have come to an end. Tan Shahen walked into her room and put on beautiful makeup. She concluded that the person who reported the report was Huang Linghua. "Well, since you won't let me live, then I won't live." Tan Shahen decided to end her relationship with Huang Linghua. She knew that there would be many people looking at her and pointing behind her, but Tan Shahen didn't care, she just wanted to look so beautiful. "Go over and tell Huang Linghua, I, Tan Shahen, don't like your man. In my eyes, he is nothing. I, Tan Shahen, am noble." Then she would make a complete settlement with Huang Linghua. If it weren't for the glass on the bank counter, even bullets couldn't penetrate it. What's the counter? Tan Shahen is a Wu opera actress, and Wu opera actresses all have kung fu skills. When she acted in Stealing Immortal Grass, her mouth holding Ganoderma lucidum in his mouth, he flipped down from a platform more than 2 meters high that was painted like a snow mountain. The counter is nothing, Tan Shahen will climb in and strangle Huang Linghua's neck. It's a pity that she can't break the glass. It's a pity that Xiao Wu came and wanted to take her to Hangzhou. Xiao Wu said, "Sister Shahen, you can't stay in Yongcheng any longer. Yes, there is no way for me, Tan Shahen, to survive in Yongcheng. They just want to push me to death." "Xiao Wu, where are you taking my sister?" Tan Shahen asked. "Brother Zhang Chen's place." Xiao Wu said that Xiao Wu had not called Zhang Chen, but he believed in his heart that if he took Tan Shahen there, Zhang Chen would definitely take her in. He knew that Lu Ligan was also in Hangzhou, but he didn't know if Lu Ligan had forgiven Tan Shahen, but he knew that no matter what Tan Shahen had done, Zhang Chen would definitely take her in, and that was Tan Shahen's only place now. There's a way out. Tan Shahen heard Zhang Chen's name. This name was very distant yet very kind, like a long-lost relative. Tan Shahen looked at her daughter sitting on her lap, and her tears rolled down again. Tan Shahen at least had one point. She had wronged Huang Linghua. Huang Linghua didn't call to report Tan Shahen, not because she didn't want to fight, but because she was disdainful. She felt that in Yongcheng, she wanted to ruin Tan Shahen's reputation and desperation. Do she still need to call some provincial TV station? I am still unable to deal with her in Yongcheng? More than enough. Huang Linghua felt that she could crush Tan Shahen to death with just one of her little fingers. She had imagined countless times in her mind the scene of this vixen trembling in front of her. She had imagined countless times Tan Shahan kneeling in front of her, begging for forgiveness with tears and runny noses. She just never thought that Tan Shahan would point at her and tell her to get out. At that moment, Huang Linghua was frightened, and she didn't even know where to go with her anger. But when Xiao dragged Tan Shahan out, Huang Linghua's the anger is back. What? Tell me to get out? Huang Linghua rushed towards the security door. The accounting supervisor came to stop her, but she slapped her in the face. When Huang Linghua rushed out of the crowd and onto the road outside, the Jinbei van had already driven away. The call was made by Shen Linlin, but she did not call the provincial TV station. She was not that stupid. Instead, she found the fourth place through the Taizhu Group Arts Center. Shen Linlin told her about Tan Shahan, including the time, place, and the time they were taken. The police station where he was arrested. As soon as the other party received the call, he knew what he should do. He thanked her profusely on the phone and wanted to know who Shen Linlin was. Shen Linlin hung up the phone. The Taizhu Group Arts Center immediately sent people to negotiate with the provincial TV station. When the provincial TV station learned about this situation, it took it seriously. They immediately went to the police station where the police were dispatched that night and confirmed that this was indeed the case. The woman's name, unit, and appearance, which also matched the information on Tan Shahan they brought. Although the matter did not reach the level of illegal crime, it was still a big scandal, and no one could bear it. People there were still competing on the CCTV screen, and large-scale sensational reports had appeared in newspapers and periodicals on street stalls. This responsibility was unaffordable. Tan Shahan was taken off a list again. Thank you to the 10,000 Years White Vote Party, third from top to bottom, flipping through books every day, on the shore 131, and Baby Tin Soldier for the rewards. Thank you Lao Chantang for your monthly ticket. Thank you for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. There is another chapter today, 0786, and yesterday's chapter, 0784. They disappeared as soon as they came out. If I want to see them again, it will be at least 2 days later. I'm sorry.